No, never give up, never surrender.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
Never forget the elephant in the room. It's actually such a big elephant that I don't think people can even breathe in that room because it's such a huge elephant. It's the number one preventable cause of death in Australia. So when you are taking a precautionary approach, when you're like, no, we just don't know enough, I just tell them, shut up, because that just I don't know is killing people right now.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
It's not about really quitting smoking. Their ideological viewpoint against vaping is so strong and so weird. Like, honestly, it's just weird. I don't know why it invokes this incredible sort of anger from these people. I mean, this colleague of mine said to me when I first moved to get the inquiry up, her comment to me was, why don't they just use a patch? And I said to her, do you smoke? And she's like, no. I said, have you ever smoked? And she said, no. And I said, well, shut up then. You don't know how hard it is to smoke.
Engorged penis.
Oh, shit. We're here. It's Friday. Well, hello. And how are you? I see lots of people are coming into the room to hang out and ask questions and to enjoy Kevin and I bantering back and forth. We actually have a good amount of things to talk about this week. Again, I'm sorry, boys and girls. We are endeavoring to bring you smarter people to view and to be interviewed by us. But some of these people have busy Friday nights, and it is difficult to get them to agree to give up a Friday night to come talk to two chuckleheads. Anyhow, so hi, everybody. I see, I'm going to scroll up here. I see Tom and Rob and Bruni and David and Chris and Amanda. I need I need a romper room. I need one of those little mirrors so that I can hold it up and, like the Omicidal and Troop and David and Leanna and Janine and Skip and Matt and more people. We're doing our thing. We're doing the Friday night thing. I had a very treacherous afternoon today. My wife had to leave the house, and she got in the car, and the garage door would only open about this far. This far. It was very, very, very not enough for her little Honda to get through. And I had to go out and manually lift the door, and then I had to spend about an hour in a 120-degree garage fixing the garage door. And I might have lost 5 pounds. I might have, but it'll come right back as soon as I drink some water. But anyway, let's say hello to my cohort and crime, my older brother from another mother, the ginger from Ohio, Kevin.
I bought my very first, at 53 years old, I bought my very first circular saw. And I feel kind of manly.
Well,
what are you doing?
You're still taking those estrogen pills, though. So
you're trying to break stuff.
Well, I didn't. My wife did.
I'm concerned about you.
She's the one that tried to break the garage door.
I know. I'm gonna hold this up early, just
between us. About a year ago, so my wife, she gets up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the hospital. And she got up and got dressed and ran out to the car, got in the car, started the car, put the car in gear, and started backing up and grazed the garage door because she forgot to hit the button to open the garage door.
I won't ever say a word. Another thing, if anybody can get me a current picture of Skip's husband to make sure he's okay, I'd appreciate it.
Apparently you have already inflamed one of the viewers.
She's such a cranky old broad. I don't understand.
Because she's calling you a punk ass ginger head.
Punk ass ginger headed dude.
What is the naughty step?
And
because there are times that I enjoy being naughty.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And Ann used to put Morph was his handle, or is his handle if he's still on Twitter once in a while. Him and I would mess with Agent Anya, and she'd put us both on the naughty step. We kind of had a competition of who could get there first, of course.
Well, that's group action right there. Oh, never mind. So, what was your week like? What have you been endeavoring to do? What have you been doing in your day to day?
Hot. All I know is hot, and I don't understand anything else. Just hot.
Come to South Texas.
No, hell no. Uh-oh. I can't answer a question. Or, well, somebody.
Well, that's her Twitter feed, but I can't click on links from the...
I copy paste. I don't know.
I can't get that to work. So, this is as techness as I can get. But I could actually just go to her Twitter.
Well, I'll read it to you. I hope I posted that.
I heard that. All right. I did see earlier that she asked if we were doing a show.
Yeah, if we were doing a show, who's the desk?
She's skipping work tonight.
Right. So I think she confused Ginger with the guy with the hat.
No. I live on the naughty step. I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't know what you're talking about.
Reservations are out a while.
I did see a tweet that is totally not vape related.
Oh, really? Good.
I did actually send it to Dimitri because he does have two teenage daughters.
Yes. Okay.
And apparently they like this thing called K-pop, which is Korean pop music.
Okay.
And I did see there was an official statement made by Kim Jong-un, the current dictator in charge of Korea, or North Korea. Not South Korea. South Korea is pretty cool. But I did want to give this a moment because Kim Jong-un says that K-pop is a vicious cancer that merits work camp or execution.
Wow.
So
well, I'm gonna have to start singing just like that and I'll dress just like that too.
Well, I mean, these the K-pop boys do actually look like maybe they are identified as a not a boy. They do appear to be wearing lipstick, and they do have very delicate and effeminate features. That's just between you and me. And I'm not judging.
Yeah, no, who cares?
Yeah.
My brother was on stage and wore makeup, just lightly. But
Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley and Ace Frehley and all those guys, they wore makeup too, but not this kind.
So you can die for singing.
But no, they're smuggling because apparently it's illegal in the North Korea. It's illegal above the 33rd parallel, and if you smuggle it into the country, this is like Footloose, where there's no dancing allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not vape related, but it is kind of because,
Freedom?
That is a government telling people that they can't choose to listen to the music they enjoy. And apparently our government chooses to outlaw and refuse to allow their citizens to choose a less harmful alternative to smoking cigarettes. So really, one, banning K-pop in North Korea is kind of a mild thing compared to, because you could survive without K-pop. But if the government were to ban vaping, the odds are that you're probably going to die of smoking. So which is worse?
I'd rather dance all day.
Singing,
I just want to dance.
So we need to redo that scene with "I just want to vape." We need to find somebody that can do a John Travolta impersonation.
It is so sad.
Yeah, I just figured, I saw that and I said, well, this isn't really vape related, but I can make it about vape.
Right.
But I did send it to Dimitri because Dimitri actually suffered through a K-pop concert for his child. He took her to one of those things. But no, no, I'm sorry, Janine. I just want to dance is John Travolta.
That was a stoner movie.
Saturday Night Fever.
Well, that may have been too.
Obviously somebody else has impersonated that, but it was John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever. Because he was talking to his, macho Italian dad in the film.
Which, it's the 70s, you couldn't dance.
Well, in the 70s, if a boy liked to dance, there was why do we keep going back to that? There was a certain stigma. Yes. It's not me.
Don't you go anywhere, Janine.
Not me. Promise you, I didn't think that. So Kevin,
does it affect me? What?
Well, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. I'm scrolling to the top of the list of our.
Don't start with me, Patrick.
Chat this week. Because I actually. That was back when Paul actually had hair.
Paul, don't make me screenshot it.
Well, it'll live on in perpetuity.
We did have a weird. It's a weird busy week this week for weird shit.
Well, yeah. Obviously, I don't even know if I want to show this. This is that screenshot you sent me from the Twitter with the guy that apparently is I don't know what the hell this is. I can hardly read this guy's tweet. You sent me a screenshot that Camilla was talking to somebody, and they sent a very I'm not even going to talk that. We're just not going. We're just going to skip past that one.
I can't get the email up anyway.
All right, so you did send me a link to a press release from the sheriff of Stanton County. I'm always interested to read the, because obviously last year we read the news article about the boy going to the park to sell another boy vape products and ended up killing the boy. And, last week we updated that with the guy, the boy got life in prison or whatever. Yeah. Life in prison. No. Yeah. He got prison. I'm thinking he's going to be out when he's like 67 or something like that. So, I always, when we have these pieces from, and this is an official press release from a law enforcement agency. These are always interesting. So this is from June 4th of this year. It's brand new. It says several charged with are following the investigation into unlawful sale of tobacco products in Stanton. On Friday morning, the Stanton County Sheriff's Office arrested Robert Comet Jr., 46, of Stanton, on an arrest warrant for 3 counts of contributing to the delinquency of a minor and 2 counts of sale of tobacco electronic nicotine. 2 counts of sale of tobacco electronic nicotine without a license to persons under the age of 19, and 1 count of sale of tobacco without a license. So apparently in this, where is this out? Does anybody know what county or what state this is? Stanton, Nebraska. So apparently in Nebraska, you have to have a tobacco license to sell vapor products. You should probably do that. You should probably do that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, if you're in business, you should probably do that. So anyway, Comet was booked at the sheriff's office on the charges and later released after posting a $5,000 bond. Comet was charged following a 3-month investigation by the sheriff's office and Stanton County Attorney's office into the alleged unlawful sale of electronic vape tobacco devices to students at the Stanton Middle and High School. A search warrant was undertaken earlier this morning at the Comet residence, and more than 400 vape cartridges were seized by the sheriff's office. Also facing charges in this case are Jennifer Comet, 40, Stanton on 3 counts of aiding and abetting, contributing to the delinquency of minor. Also charged as adults after a court hearing moved their cases to adult court. Taylor Comet, 17, of Stanton, with sale of tobacco without a license, 2 counts of that. Contributing to delinquency of a minor, 2 counts of that. Attempting possession of controlled substance, THC, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And Taylor Worrell, 17, Stanton is charged with 2 counts of... Stanton is charged with 2 counts of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and 1 each sale of tobacco to a minor and sale of tobacco without a license. And apparently these are your mug shots of the Comets and all of the stuff that they were selling.
So I've seen scuttlebutt over the years, literally over the years, that owners of vape shops, so maybe in here, I don't know who offhand and I don't care, will limit sales because they're just straw purchases. I come in, I buy 40 of those, I walk out, I resell them. So there's an effort generally, not always, to curb that. But this is parent son, just like the other one, and it's not your local vape shop doing it necessarily. In this case, somebody should have said, "What do you need 40 of those for?" Or whatever many it were. But
now my question is though, is it possible that this young man owned a vape shop?
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't have any. I'm not friends with him.
Right? Yeah, I don't know.
So I can't check.
Right. It's possible.
But Apathy Miller is in the chat room. I don't know if I don't think Apathy Miller's in Nebraska, but there can't be that many vape shops in Nebraska.
Right.
But that guy had a pretty good number of pod devices, disposables that probably bought off of Fast Tech or DH Gate or any of those Chinese peoples that Chinese websites that will sell to literally anyone.
Yeah.
And that's good because I want people to have access to these products. So I'm not going to complain. But yes, I mean, obviously it looks like the dad, the wife, this is the dad, the Robert, the main guy is 46. The second person was Jennifer, and she's 40. That's probably the wife.
Yep.
And then Taylor was 17. That's the son. And apparently Tyler Komet and Taylor Whirl. But Tyler and Taylor must be best friends, and they probably went to school because they're both 17. They probably went to school and sold to their friends at school.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm imagining here.
I like that family business theme.
Yeah, hey, what did you do, Kevin? Kevin crashed. So remember, he stopped at the family theme. Let's see if he crashed. But yes, Apathy says most shops I've been to don't care. If you have an ID, they'll sell to you. And no, he's in Mississippi. Yeah. Hey, I lived in Mississippi for a long time. I graduated from high school in Pearl, Mississippi, and attended the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But it was a very long time ago. Anywho, yes, the war on drugs destroys another family. That is actually true. But we also don't condone the distribution of these products to people that shouldn't have them. And obviously, kids in high school shouldn't have them. And this is very similar to the story. Even if this guy doesn't own a vape shop and he just had that massive amount of stuff, he actually went out of his way to sell these products to kids. And apparently the one kid tried to either buy or trade for THC products, which obviously in Nebraska is not legal. So it's not legal here in Texas either. So, it is what it is. But at least this time it didn't lead to a kid killing another kid like the last one of these articles that we told about. Kevin has I think Kevin's computer just died. It just took a shit. So yeah, I mean, it is what there's no villain in this, but obviously it's not good. It's these kinds of bad actors that are going to it's not going to be good. Not going to be good at all. So, shit. I don't want to go too far ahead of Kevin, but if, he has to restart his computer, he might have pissed on the electric fence. Well, he didn't. It doesn't matter because we're not going through Facebook. So he couldn't have possibly. And all the streams are still live. So it's Kevin's fault. It's Kevin's fault. It's, operator error. So there was a string of things that Kevin and I were going back and forth on. He sent a study that we will gloss over. And it's actually, none of the authors of the study I know, but let's share screen it real quick. We'll throw it up on here and we'll do this. Blam. So this is actually from the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. Skip says that Kevin will be back when he gets off of the naughty step. And the actual study is titled "The Tobacco Harm Reduction as a Path to Restore Trust in Tobacco Control." And it was published on March 26th of this year. It was actually received on the March 26th. It was revised on April 27th, accepted in May, and then May 19th, and then published on May 22nd. So this is still pretty fresh and new. And this goes about the recent discussions from Cliff Douglas on Twitter. He wrote that very long letter entreating and begging and asking and calling out public health for throwing the baby out with the bathwater and being too ideological. And this study is along those lines. It's important to make sure that we highlight the fact that tobacco control is tobacco with an iron fist control. And there is the lovely Kristen Noel Marsh, and she says in the chat room that Tamar MJ Anton, one of the authors of this study, has put out multiple studies about tobacco harm reduction and good stuff. And I see Ed West, the Pinot lover, is here. Kevin is trying to pop on, and his shit's not plugged in or something. So we'll read the abstract while Kevin is trying to get back in. So the controversy of tobacco harm reduction in the United States persists despite evidence that an important audience of tobacco prevention and control, i.e. the people who use or are likely to use nicotine in tobacco products, are engaging in practices that may be considered tobacco harm reduction. Despite this, a significant portion of the U.S. tobacco control and prevention field, and there's a type I before E except after C. No, that's right. Field continues to guide by a precept that there is no safe tobacco. Therefore, failing to acknowledge practices that may be used to reduce the harms associated with consuming combustible forms of nicotine and tobacco. In this commentary, we argue that ignoring the potential benefits of harm reduction strategies may unintentionally lead to an erosion of trust in tobacco control among some members of the public. Unintentionally, Kevin?
Unintentionally. It's not on purpose. Don't believe them.
I don't believe that. I mean, I think their actions are intentional, but I don't think that they believe that their actions will lead to distrust of tobacco control. And that's what, at least within our circles, that's exactly what it's done. People that used to be respected public health people that, we should be respecting because of their amazing works, like the, American Lung Association, American Cancer Society, all those people that have, very respectable missions, things that should be done, protecting people's lungs, protecting people's hearts, fighting cancer. Those are all very noble goals, but they've been derailed into focusing a lot of their attention on something that they should be, be blaring off the rooftops how important it is that people choose safer versions of delivery of nicotine for those people that want it or need it. See, that's the thing is, I don't think a lot of these people believe that there are human beings that operate better with nicotine in them than without.
Nope.
And again, most of these people also believe that nicotine is, a carcinogen, that it has horrible deleterious effects on the human body. And these are, like I said, we've quoted the study multiple times. A huge percentage of doctors in the United States think that nicotine causes cancer.
Yep.
Now, nicotine is a stimulant, and if you have cancer already, nicotine might accelerate it. Most stimulants will. Anything that could be considered a something that causes your heart to race or to beat faster is actually going to help an infection or a pathogen or even cancer spread more quickly.
Right.
That is there's no doubt about it. Does it cause cancer? No, not at all. There's no science at all that says that it does. There are scientists that say we believe it does. We just haven't. It's like we believe that the gateway exists. We can't find it. We can't show it to you, but we believe it's there.
It's rusty.
There are quite a few scientists that have those controversial beliefs. So this actual study is pretty good. Again, it is fairly long. And look, I do like to go down here now.
Yep.
Mike Peterson, I do believe in aliens, my friend. So there.
Hi, Mike. Who is it? Show it to me. Oh, Mr.
Abrams. Let's see. The authors declared no conflicts of interest. Let's see. Funding. This article was supported by funds from the Tobacco-Related Disease Program, research program of the University of California, grant number, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. So
that is an official, reputable great funder. Yep. Nobody can poo-poo this because of where the money comes from.
So
where's the conclusion? That's the abstract. Oh, I thought this was the full text. It's not the full text.
No, you can download it.
I can download it, but I don't want to right now.
The words to ensure trust and listening to people. We are people. We were people who smoke. Now we're people who don't smoke and people who do vape. So we're multitasking. If they would listen to us, we've been doing this since in the United States 2007, I think, and so that's 13 plus years, right? Is that my math right? And they're not listening because they don't have to. Hey, I can't quit smoking. Here, try a patch. Well, that didn't work. Well, here, you're not trying hard enough. Here, try this. Well, that's not working either. Well, I don't know what you're doing wrong, but it's got to be you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this sentence that I've heard, actually, it's like two sentences. To ensure trust, we must return to our basic principles of doing no harm, developing programs that are responsive to people's experiences, and providing resources and assisting people to reduce the harms that may be associated with practices such as smoking, which adversely affects health. Only by respecting an individual's priorities can we cultivate trust and develop tobacco prevention efforts that are grounded in the realities of people's lives and responsive to their needs. So
my question to you is, what was the first way you tried to stop smoking?
The first time?
Yeah, just the very first time for
I just tried to not smoke.
Okay, so cold turkey didn't work.
No.
Well, geez, what's the matter with you, Patrick? It worked for me. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? So that's their tone to begin with.
Yeah.
Had I tried vaping and not had any success with it, and then maybe tried it again or not, and people have that we know, then the first time I did it and then I got on Twitter, well, it don't work, it's crap. That would be my personal experience with that product, that one little product. So yeah, they have to listen in order to learn because they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right. And Kevin,
what?
Tilt your camera like this a little bit.
I don't even like you.
I can't see your lower jaw.
You don't need to see my lower jaw.
Well
then here, I'll just do this. There you go.
Well, okay, you're going to hurt Mike Peterson's feelings. He is in the chat room.
We can't see his lower jaw.
Well, no, now he got a smaller pop filter.
So cold turkey, so patch gum, lozenge, all those things Well, they don't work. Well, they don't work. Well, they haven't been listening for how many years? 30 that I'm aware of.
Well, I mean, obviously, when did the patch come out?
Did I tell you I got a chess set this week?
Do you actually know how to play chess?
I know, nor do I know how to play poker. But I
can teach you both.
I don't want to.
I can teach you both.
But I don't want to.
I'm a fairly decent chess player.
But I don't want to.
Too bad. You bought it, so you have to play it.
I'm trying to cover that up.
Did you only get 5 pawns in your set?
I think there was 8. I don't know what the set really entails, but I think there's a lot. To me, it was a lot.
Really?
I think they're called pawns. So if you go out to the wood shop and you cut something too short twice, and then I show you how to do it correctly, right? So yeah,
it's called measure twice, cut once, my friend.
Right. I escaped, Skip. Everything went poof. I don't know if you saw me wave, but I was like, oh, there it goes.
Well, we know that you're a puff, but
Poof. So
poof.
yeah, I sent that to the chat, which is what I was trying to do with the first link, and it didn't like me or it. So there you go.
And you broke your computer.
It went all out.
So the other one of the next things, or the next things that you sent me was a link to a PDF file, a 4-page letter from the U.S. Small Business Administration, the Office of Advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I will throw this on screen. I am not reading this because it's a 4-page letter, but it is good that the SBA has stepped up, and are reaching out to the Honorable Janet Woodcock, MD, Acting Commissioner of the U.S. FDA, and Mr. Mitchell Zeller, Juris Doctorate of the U.S. Center of Tobacco Products at FDA. And they are writing an extension of 1 year on an extension of 1 year moratorium on FDA enforcement actions against ENDS manufacturers with timely submitted pre-market tobacco application, and the FDA's policy to review pre-market tobacco product applications by market share. So I wasn't aware of this, but they're making reference that there's an FDA policy to review PMTAs based on the market share of the product that is on the PMTA. Does anyone have verification of this? Because I was unaware that this was a policy. So they are prioritizing the products that have a bigger market share? Did you know that, Kevin?
I had heard it before, but I don't understand all this stuff.
I had never heard that before.
And isn't part of the Office of Management and Budget as well? I thought this was maybe it's something else, but I thought this was part. Or they
OMB has already done. Obama's OMB is the one that's already put it through. I don't imagine that it has to go back through OMB IRA. I don't believe that. So, and this is something that we've discussed on the show. So the PMTA deadline was last September.
Yep.
And that was the deadline to file your initial PMTA stuff. And then once you submitted that PMTA, you, according to the deeming regs, have basically 1 year that you're allowed to legally sell your product while FDA skims through or reviews your PMTA for, decide whether they're going to grant you marketing orders. because they don't approve. This is not FDA approved. Your product will pass or fail, and if it passes, then you get what they call marketing orders, and that means that you legally can market your products. But FDA still has all the authority in the world to come back at any time and withdraw your marketing orders.
Yeah.
Just because you've been granted, not, and in my memory, they have actually retracted marketing orders for probably about 15 products over the years. It's not a whole lot. But again, Winston, in one circumstance, it was a Winston product that came out and they had been granted marketing orders, and then they turned around like after they had been on the market for about 90 days and said, "Oh, no, we found some problems. You have to pull that product."
Yeah.
And literally every convenience store in America pulled those products off of their shelf overnight.
Yeah. You see at the bottom, or I see at the bottom, they copied it to Sharon Block, which is part of the Office of Management and Budget, and they want to reverse the order of reviews from smallest to largest. But
well, obviously the SBA is definitely going to be advocating for the small business. That's what the S and the B in SBA stands for. I was just under the assumption that they were being reviewed in the order that they received them. I never heard of this prioritizing based on market share, because if it takes them a long time to review the Jewel and the blue and whatever else, those products hold a huge market share.
Well, that's
in
job
the 1 year moratorium. See, now this goes back to, it doesn't matter what FDA does. If FDA says, yeah, we're going to give everybody, we're going to let everybody stay on the market longer than the 1 year that the court, that's actually in the judgment from the court case. There's nothing that's going to guarantee. Well, I'm 99.9% sure that the, what was it, 13 or so public health groups that sued the FDA to get that 1 year, to get the PMTA date pulled back, and the 1 year starting from that date. If the FDA doesn't begin enforcement, those people are they're going to turn. I've said this before. The truth people, the PAVE people, everybody that's named on that thing are going to write letters to the court demanding that the judgment be upheld, and FDA will have to either appeal and be rejected or obey. They've already asked for an extension and the judge said no. So I don't imagine a letter. I'm glad that the SBA has done this, but I don't have any confidence that, even if FDA wanted to be cool about it, and I'm not, I'm not criticizing FDA. I think that FDA is trying to do the job that they were told they had to do.
Letter of the law.
And I think that if it was up to them, they probably would be cool. They'd be like, hey, we got like 6 million applications here. There's no way we're going to be able to approve these in a year, or, go through these in a year and say yes or no to these. But it's not up to them. Ultimately, it's up to those plaintiffs in that lawsuit and the judge, who is already, if you read the decision and you read the language in there, he was not very complimentary of the vaping industry.
No.
And he is not going to be motivated to give us he's going to side with the American Lung Association and Truth and campaign for tobacco-free kids. But like I said, it is awesome and amazing that the SBA has written this letter.
Yep.
And,
it is what it is.
Pray, do whatever it is that you do. Cross your fingers, focus on tomorrow, not September, because we, literally have no control over what happens. All we can do is be here. All we can do is be here for smokers, as a consumer driven industry, a consumer created industry. I mean, we made this industry, and if we have to, we'll have to make this industry on the down low, in the gray market, in the black market, do whatever we have to do, as long as we're here to help smokers. I mean, I'm not in this industry, Kevin, you're not in this industry, but
no.
Both of us know enough to make a simple e-liquid that will be safe to give to people that want to quit smoking.
Yep.
And China will continue to send stuff to us regardless of what USPS says.
I got my stuff.
I'm not saying that, I'm telling you that the USPS is not motivated to try to stop every package from China.
They don't care.
Well, they might care, but literally,
larger,
and I'm not. And before somebody turns me into the DEA or something, I'm not advocating that this happen. I'm just telling you, it's going to happen.
Oh, it's going to happen. There's no question.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
The FDA doesn't have the manpower or resources to seize every package at the border.
No.
And a lot of shippers are not even putting, their company name on the label. It just says shipping department.
Mm-hmm.
So unless they're planning on opening every package from China, I just don't say it.
They'll get a few, and most will come through. That's how it's going to work.
So Kristen says that the PMTA's review order will mostly be determined using the same randomization process, semicolon. However, due to the large number of ENDS products currently marketed, the FDA is dedicating a portion of its resources to reviewing the products that account for most of the current market. And that's what Zeller said. So Zeller said it right there. Thank you, Kristen Knoll Marsh, for that. But so Zeller said they're going to put through the big dogs first. They're going to review the big dogs first.
And the little dog sits waiting, wagging her damn tail. Which
means that the other guys, if the September deadline, if FDA says, look, we're going to let you guys stay on the market until the judge comes after us again. So, but even so, even if that happens by November, if everything bad happens by November, it sucks. It literally sucks. So, yeah, and obviously, Skip is put in the chat room, the PMTAs for the Views Vibe, the Views Zero are actually the second and third completely grouped PMTA applications submitted by Reynolds to the FDA for review. The company filed PMTA applications for review solo in October of 2019. Yeah. So I know, I think that's what we're telling, the big tobacco guys, the Views, the Fontum stuff, the My Blue, I don't even know, is Enjoy? I haven't seen Enjoy because the only place that used to sell it was the CVS. Because the C stores never had it here. It was always at the drugstore. So yeah, I know that the Swisher guys, their PMTA has been accepted, and the Juul has been accepted, I believe. I don't know if they've been filed, because there's a step there. It's accepted, filed, substantive review. So there's a step between accepted and substantive review. So, there's a color barcode or a bar graph on the FDA's website that shows each step on the process. But there's no way that 6 million applications are going to be processed and yes or no'd.
No. And they knew that
by September. And I didn't watch the nicotine conference that happened this week with all the smart people. Patricia Kovacevic was there, and a bunch of people were there, and there was a quote in there that said that they are predicting mass rejections.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, and I just saw somebody posting on Facebook like certain quotes from that conference, which, I'm not there, so I have to take these as accurate, because the guy that typed them is somebody that I know and trust. I'm looking here to see, there was quite a few of these that certain products are going. I'm scrolling here because there was a bunch of quotes from this conference. But if that's true, if that was actually something that was, because Patricia's an attorney for a big tobacco company. I imagine. I don't think that vaping is dead by any means. I don't think that we should run around like a chicken with our heads cut off yet. But obviously there will be substantial consolidation. There will be bunches of people that just aren't going to get through, and there's going to be fewer products in vape shops. Yep. So
cause for concern.
It is concerning. Yeah, it is something that I'm, if I had registered for that conference, I might have been able to had more quotes from you or for you. But yeah, the new nicotine whatever conference is it called? Next Generation Nicotine Delivery USA 2021 was the full stuff. But yeah, that one of the quotes is they're predicting massive amounts of rejections. So
I'm rubbing that to make it bigger before you put it on there. There we go.
Oh yeah, are you rubbing it?
Yep. Now you can show it.
Okay.
So
you didn't rub it very hard.
Quite a while. All right, I'll go back to it. Quite a while back, and this is, I'm not even sure how far back ago it was, but it had to be 2019 or further. Each fiscal year, they want to assess and collect under subsection whatever, more money, and I did not put my volume on for here, so I won't play it. But this increased funding will strengthen our actions to combat youth use of tobacco products, from Dr. Woodcock. Now, it's 22 seconds. She says a little bit more, but they want more money. We want a raise. What do they want it for? They want to combat youth use. That's what they've always supposed to have been doing to begin with. It's part of the 2009 wording, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't understand that. I have no idea why. I don't get it. You want $100 million more.
Well, the 2009 thing is the
Tobacco Act.
The smoking prevention and tobacco, that
family,
one.
Yeah, family prevention. Yeah.
That one. So
$100 million.
Yeah. I get it.
No.
But
They're
again,
not doing what they're supposed to do to begin with.
they don't have enough money, man.
So what are you telling me? They need more people to smoke to get more money from the user fees that are what?
No, I mean the entire so the FDA tobacco is fully funded from those tobacco user fees. They don't get a dime from tobacco taxes. They don't get a dime from the master settlement.
Right.
Their only money operating expenses is from those tobacco user fees.
Fees, yes.
So, and I mean, you put the numbers up there. Those are big fucking numbers. The tobacco user fees that are collected are huge numbers. And it was funny because everybody was like, "Oh, Donald Trump is going to save vaping," but he was the one that was quoted in an article 3 years ago saying that he wanted vape companies to pay tobacco user fees. And if their tobacco user fees, and this is collected from all the tobacco companies, perfect, those fiscal years, but if vape companies had to pay tobacco user fees along the same scale as those tobacco companies, there's not a fucking company in the United States, except for those big tobacco companies, that could afford tobacco user fees. Period.
I have the sound on if you're interested, but either way,
play it.
Those are the fees.
Play the video.
Hang on, let me make sure.
Finally, FDA also protects Americans from tobacco-related death and disease
Playing.
It played on
by
my
regulating these products. We propose an additional $100 million in user fees to enhance product review and all the activities that go along, including enforcement. This increased funding will strengthen our actions to combat youth use of tobacco products. Finally, FDA also protects America.
I could hear it, but she was freezing. She was freezing on you.
She was freezing on me.
Yes, Camilla just texted us or just messaged us on Twitter. Not messaged. She just tweeted us saying, "Hello, guys," or "Hi, guys." Hi, Camilla.
Amazing human.
Yes, we like human beings. Human beings are awesome, regardless. Except for Kevin.
Well, I'm a bot.
Well, that is true. You are not a human being, according to several academic studies. And a writer from Australia this week called us all bots.
All. Not official. That's just some chucklehead in Australia thinking she's a important person.
Yes.
That's okay. I don't mind. I showed her the bot accusations, but she obviously didn't read them.
No.
So
not interested, sir.
And with Camilla, she has that secret elf, cranky old broad Skip, who gave her Michelle Minton's piece. And Camilla evidently had things to do, like sweep the floor, and she just knocked everything off her list and went to that. So that is a heartwarming thing to me, that someone who isn't us in our little bubble is going, wait a minute, this is wrong. She doesn't trust these organizations as much as she did before, or probably at all, in my opinion. But the idea that her tweet caught on somewhere from somebody, and she's one person doing something for everybody that's in the room, everybody, and she's catching on quickly. So
well,
I'm very impressed with her.
We have repeatedly said, and you can verify this, you can confirm this. We have repeatedly said we will never win until we get people that don't smoke and that don't vape to understand the technology, to understand why we use this product, and to understand that this is at least 95% less harmful than smoking. And what would be logical? Promoting a safer version of nicotine delivery or smoking?
Right.
So until the regular folks that don't smoke or vape rise up and say, hey, we care about our brothers and sisters that smoke,
right,
and that can't quit any other way, and choose to use a safer version of nicotine because maybe their body needs it. And we can show you tons of science that shows that certain people's bodies and brains process nicotine in a beneficial way, and it is helpful to them. There's actually a movie, You Don't Know Nicotine, that is very good. We know the guy that made the movie.
Yes,
and we've studied and researched and read a lot of the science that's involved and the scientists that are interviewed in the film. And as a person that works in the medical field and understands the human body, it is as far as I can see, and from all the science that I've looked at, it is accurate. So since you couldn't get it to play, I'll play it real quick.
Okay.
Finally, FDA also protects Americans from tobacco-related death and disease by regulating these products. We propose an additional $100 million in user fees to enhance product review and all the activities that go along, including enforcement. This increased funding will strengthen our actions to combat youth use of tobacco products.
So go back to the very beginning, and then I'll tell you to stop.
Finally, FDA also protects Americans from tobacco-related death and disease by regulating these.
So they're protecting you from smoking by regulating them.
Yes, that's their claim.
But there's the answer right there that I was looking for. I'm going to back up to Camila. She had a thread that I still have momentarily saved. I asked her if I could use it in a blog, and I believe it was December. So let's pretend it was December because I don't know timeline wise. So in 6 months or so less, she's understood more about what we're saying than experts who have been in their field for 30 years.
So here's the thing, Kevin. They believe in their mind, these public health people. I'm just going to hold up a book and pretend like this is a textbook. It's not a textbook. It's a book called. Anyway, they're going to hold up a textbook, and they're going to say, well, the book says that this, that tobacco harm reduction doesn't work, and that only abstinence and FDA approved methods work for everybody, but 100% of the time.
But there's a 7% success rate, 3 to 7,
something like that. Yeah,
but that's not in my textbook.
But they also, if we refer back to the study that we talked about earlier, where they're urging people, because they're saying individuals need to be met where they are, not where you want them to be. That is actually something that Kristen Nomar said above, and I'm stealing it. So tobacco control believes that you should meet them, not that they should meet you.
Yeah.
So we understand that, as human beings that sort of live the human condition, that everybody's not the same. If that was the case, all boys would be boys and all girls would be girls, and there would be no derivation. There would be no people that identify as something else. There would be no girls that like girls and no boys that like boys, and no everybody would be exactly the same.
But Dr. Woodcock said she's protecting the public. Is that in the
book?
That,
but she's only been in that job for a very short amount of time. So,
So when I see Dr. Woodcock holding a weapon of her choice, of course, because I want her to have her own choice to protect
Well,
children.
their weapon of choice is regulation.
Their weapon of choice to protect children is to put them in front of them when they speak. That's what their protection is.
I mean, they are weaponizing the children.
I just love going fishing. I love going fishing with you.
Weaponizing and indoctrinating. But
where are the children when they're talking? Surrounding them. I love that. Yeah.
I mean, even if they don't speak, the children are wonderful to have as a prop on stage.
Exactly. Skip said a bad word. Skip said a bad word.
Well, one of these days we're actually going to get Skip on camera in the show.
All I can say is drink because, So Camilla, in 6 months, if she's still listening or not, doesn't concern me momentarily because I like Cherry. Cherry was already a vapor, and she came into it, but we were impressed with her enthusiasm. Go ahead.
She wanted to quit smoking.
Yeah.
And then she dove in head first. Now, a lot of people don't do that.
No.
A lot of people don't do that. But I want to go back to your tweet for a minute because I want to share that chart because Tom asked a question in the chat room about user fees. So each tobacco company, for each product that they manufacture, would be required to pay a user fee. So Janet is proposing $100 million.
Cough.
An increase of $100 million. So as of 2019 and each subsequent fiscal year after 2019, the number of projected user fees from 19, 20, and 21 will be $712 million. So if they increase that by $100 million, every tobacco company that provides user fees would be required to increase their portion to add up to $100 million. How
are they going to get that money?
$112 million. There is an actual formula on the FDA's website for calculating your user fees, and we actually did the work a while back. And it is crazy. It is a crazy amount of money.
Where does that get passed on to?
That's how FDA tobacco pays their bills.
No, I mean, who is the end contributor?
Well, the consumer.
There you go. Jesus Christ! Fighting that one.
I see people. I saw a dumbass tweet today, or again, there's a reason why not tweet, Facebook post. There's a reason why I am not on Facebook anymore, other than glancing and posting pictures of food, is because it is asinine and stupid. And somebody posted something about some restaurant had announced that they were increasing the prices of their plates or food items in their menu because of the raise of minimum wage.
Yes.
So obviously, any company that has to increase their expenses that produces a product, they're going to turn around and increase the cost of that product to the end user, to the consumer. That is just natural. That is the trickle down way of our system. So if something costs more because you have more overhead, you have to turn around and turn that expense onto the consumer. That's just how shit happens. So if the tobacco user fees go up, the price of tobacco or the price of cigarettes will go up. If the proposed Trump, I mean, he said it several years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. He said that we're going to have to make these vape companies pay tobacco user fees. If that's the case, those companies that produce products will have to turn around and increase their price for their product to the end user. That's just how it is. They'd have to, I'm hoping if they do that, they're going to have to reformulate how that works for vaping. But if they follow the formula that's on there for tobacco cigarettes, not to be a negative Nelly all the time, but yeah, we're fucked.
Oh yeah, there's more ways to be fucked. You can.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Where's my messenger at?
I don't know.
Where are we at on this list?
We're in Vancouver, I think, next. I'm trying to keep track of you.
There's a screenshot of a tweet. Yeah, that's from Azim.
Yep.
Yes, we're here at the Vancouver Island, Vancouver Sun.
Oh wait a minute!
I'm pre-rubbing. I have pre-rubbed.
I do see what you saw, and that was the idiot that was pointed out earlier in that tweet that I sent. So we don't really need to.
Yeah, no, I decided not to address that.
I see it. Yeah. So Vancouver.
Some people do not deserve the air to breathe.
What is this Vancouver bullshit?
Okay, so headline says Vancouver Island teacher reprimanded for vaping talk.
Mm-hmm.
So this is from June 9th. It says he was reprimanded for engaging in inappropriate conversations with students while teaching at a high school in the Pacific Rim district.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this stock picture of a vaping dude. And it says here, a Vancouver Island teacher has been formally reprimanded for discussing vaping with his students. Terrence Andrew Makofka was reprimanded for engaging in inappropriate conversations with his students during class time in two separate instances while working as a teacher on call at a high school in the Pacific Rim district, which includes Port Alberni and Ucluelet.
Here comes the buried part.
According to close that one. According to a consent resolution agreement published by the BC Commissioner for Teacher Regulation on Tuesday, a parent complained to the principal on December 6th of 2018
buried
that Kafka discussed vaping with a class. 5 days later, the principal spoke with him and told him to stop. On March 26, 2019, and ninth grade or grade 9. I guess that, this is Canada, so you don't say ninth grade, you say grade 9. A grade 9 student approached Makofka and asked him about vaping and the amount of nicotine in his vape. So the teacher was a vapor, apparently, and the student came up and asked him about nicotine and vaping. In the context of advising the student how he had just quit vaping, Makofka answered the student's questions about tapering down nicotine levels and then told the student what his favorite vaping flavors were and where those could be purchased. Makofka was issued a letter of discipline 3 months later in June 27 and a 5-day suspension starting September 4th. The agreement cited previous concerns with Makofka's conduct, including failing to properly care for an injured student, which resulted in a 4-day suspension in 2016, and failing to inform the school about a fight between two students, which resulted in a 10-day suspension in December of 2016. Under the agreement, Makofka admits the vaping discussions with the class and the student constituted professional misconduct and agrees to the reprimand.
So on one hand, I want to ask the jugheads, is this inappropriate? On the other hand, you're saying all these students are vaping and they need to have more information. The teachers have to have more tools. And when you have a teacher that a student looks up to for whatever reason, and you ask that teacher as a student, and I did that as a kid, I went to a teacher for advice a time or two, and then they give you that advice. Where's the part of the problem? Now, if Mr. whatever his name was also an idiot in other
Well, apparently there were.
career.
I mean, there's one thing here where it says that he failed to failed to provide
until a fight.
aid to an injured student. I would understand that would actually be the worst possible thing on this list of things that he's been in trouble for.
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, you know, obviously we had fights at school, and you know, some of those fights needed to happen.
Yep.
There was a beatdown that needed to be delivered, and sometimes the teachers might have turned a blind eye if it was justified. But again, I'm not a parent.
Why is it that it's 2 years later? And this isn't something that I found.
I found this
from, or you found from 2 years ago.
No, this is brand new.
But it's 2 years ago. Why are they?
It started 2 years ago.
2019.
Oh yeah.
And 2018. So I don't understand. And then 2016 was the other issue.
2016, 2018, and 2019, and we're in 2021.
Right, 2+ years ago, and they're just now putting something like this out. So that's called propaganda.
So this kid is still in school because this is a grade 9 student in 2019.
Yeah.
And, you know, now that the kids are probably just not even going to school, they're probably doing remote learning now.
Yeah.
That kid probably got caught vaping in front of his computer by his mommy, and he blamed the teacher.
Sure. 2 years. 2 years later.
I've been vaping for 2 years because teacher Makafka.
Propaganda.
I mean, obviously.
Pisses me off.
Obviously, yes, the teacher probably shouldn't have told the kid what flavors he liked and where to buy them.
Mm-hmm.
So, put the same. Janine says, does this warrant an article in the Vancouver Sun? Well, it does because it has an agenda.
So, take away the word vape and say cigarette, or say alcohol, or say heroin, or say whatever it is. The child was given advice.
Now, I
know they're two different things.
All those other things that you just said are extremely detrimental to a child.
Right.
And you know, if the teacher had said, "Hey, I use heroin too," and this is the dealer that has the best heroin,
I know.
you would understand that that's bad. But again, because there's been so much misinformation and a lot of miscontextualizing information and all sorts of other things in the media, people believe that vaping is as bad as heroin.
Right. Correct.
People are afraid that the cloud that your kid is blowing is the boogeyman.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned it multiple times. I'm not a parent, but in the past I was a child, and I will tell you that as a child, I didn't follow the rules.
Did you do stupid shit?
I engaged in risky behavior, Kevin.
Gasp.
I know, right? So
I'm repeating, Janine. Gasp.
I did things that I shouldn't have done.
Of all the
things that I knew I shouldn't have done, and I did them because people told me not to.
Of all the useless waste of times, we can't get those 4 minutes back on that fucking story.
Oh, we spent more than 4 minutes on that stuff.
I don't get it. 2 years ago, this would have been, like semi-important.
Dude, I remember doing an article during the Vaping Militia radio show probably 6 years ago. That was from Time magazine that said that vaping was as addictive as freebasing heroin.
Okay. I remember the article.
And they compared dripping specifically to freebasing heroin. So I am not surprised by anything that I see. But obviously, having done the research, and I always tell people to do their own research as well. because you learn more if you're the one doing the looking.
Yeah.
That's why we always post the links to everything that we share on the show, so that you can look at it yourself. But if I were a parent, I would damn well want my kid to be vaping versus smoking.
Right.
And
what Kristen said, as a parent, it's not his place any more than it's okay for a store clerk to decide for me that it's okay to sell my teen illegally because it's harm reduction, and all of her adult kids vape.
Yes, well, Kristen is so young, she probably doesn't have any adult children. She's only like 25.
21.
Well, yes. I mean, she's definitely old enough to purchase her own vape products for herself because she's an adult, but she's definitely not old enough to have too many adult children or any adult children. She's a young flower. I'm trying to stay on her good side.
Yes.
Because she's fiery.
She is feisty.
She is fiery.
Fiery.
So the next thing that you sent.
Oh,
I think you sent this one.
I don't know.
Pretty sure.
Probably. I'd have to read the comment that I left afterward.
Quit sending me messages, damn it. No. I found this one.
You got that's yours. That's yours.
I get credit for this one.
I get credit on Twitter.
You can have all the Twitter credit, my friend.
Asses.
So
this might not be the same one. Let me look at the one on it. Well, mine won't show up.
So this is from UPI.com. And it has a whole bunch of fucking ads. So there's a bunch of pop-ups. I apologize for all of the pop-ups that are on the screen. But anyhow, youth vaping down, but 1 in 5 U.S. teens still using e-cigarettes.
Gone.
So if youth vaping is down, and they're saying 1 in 5, so they're saying 20%. 20% is 1 in 5. That's statistically 20%. 20% of U.S. youths within the youth age range. 20%.
Youths.
Are using vaping products. So I think we did this math before.
There's not enough kids. There's not enough kids.
I think we did this math before. Let's see. They're saying high school students. Okay, so they're all right. So it says here, although the number of teens who use e-cigarettes has dropped significantly, new research suggests that vaping rates are still too high. This study underscores that flavored e-cigarettes, especially Juul, have caused the epidemic of youth e-cigarette use and nicotine addiction in the U.S. and shows why the U.S. FDA and other policymakers must act now to eliminate all flavored e-cigarettes, said Matt Myers of the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. To get around bans on e-cigarettes sold to kids, there was a dramatic shift to fruity-flavored disposable e-cigarettes, such as Puff Bar and pre-filled menthol. See, you see what they just did there?
The menthol. Stop. Let me ask.
Pre-filled menthol cartridge products.
Let me ask you a question.
Ask me.
Is it? I'm always confused. Not only do the numbers confuse me because I hate math, I'm also confused because I thought it was the nicotine, but now again, it's the fruity flavored disposables. Is it the nicotine or is it the flavors? I forget.
It's the flavors that get them in the door and the nicotine that keeps them coming. But, nobody has said anything about pre-filled menthol cartridge products until this.
Yeah.
Because the FDA announced, there's a push by all these asshats that want to.
Patrick is in charge of asshats today.
Push for. I'm in charge of all the asshats. They're pushing for that menthol ban, so now they're adding that to their prescripted BS.
Mm-hmm. And Chris, before it disappears, Kristen's got the number 4.4 daily. That's the number you want to know.
I still don't believe that is anywhere near true. I think it's probably less than 2%, maybe even less than that.
We can bounce the number around. Let's say it's 5. Let's say it's 7. Who gives a shit?
We did the math, and I think we did the math, and we said that for the middle school, I think we just did the junior high school and the high school age groups when we did the math, and I think it came out to be like 7 million kids, somewhere between 6 and 7 million kids, and if that's the case, there's more kids vaping than there are adults vaping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Way more.
But yeah, it's alarming that over 7% of high school e-cigarette users wrote in Puff Bar as their usual brand, although it was not named in the survey.
Yeah. There's no coaxing or guiding anybody.
No.
Because, it's funny.
Well, because here's the thing. Previously, it was Juul, right? Juul, but the only place that you can buy Juul is convenience stores.
Yes.
So the only way they can hit the mom and pop vape shops is to get kids to write in Puff Bars, because mom and pop vape shops have Puff Bars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, of course.
That is true. It is below the 5% end game.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have to run the numbers again, but that number still seems, it would be close to about 3 million, 2 to 3 million full-time kids vaping at that percentage.
Let me ask you another question.
Ask me.
How come adults are anecdotal and children who are allegedly brain damaged are stats? I want to know the answer to that. Quick, hurry, faster.
It's convenient for their the mission.
Okay. It's for the pizza party. Okay, all right. T-shirts and pizza. There you go.
Yeah. So for the study, researchers from the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention surveyed more than 14,500 middle and high school students about their e-cigarette use. In 2019, 27.5% of high school kids and 10.5% of middle school kids said they used e-cigarettes. In 2020, those numbers dropped to 20% of high school students and 5% of middle school students. So, these surveys, the data sets, they never released the full data set, for one thing. They would never give it to me and say, okay, here's the numbers. You can look at the numbers and scrutinize the numbers.
And they never tell you where. Now, my guess is they're in extremely high, low-income areas.
Yeah,
they're not over here at the high school here. They're in poverty-stricken, etc.
But the issue is they don't tell you that the question says, have you ever?
Right.
Have you ever used?
It's all in the wording.
And the question could be very much, have you ever? But they just release 20% of the kids are addicted to nicotine.
That's the headline. And then I will quote Jerome Adams, sort of, that few children use nicotine, cigarettes, or vape because of the availability, and they can't do it around their parents. I don't have it in front of me, or I'd read it to you.
Well, I mean,
but that's what I was told.
You remember, it's probably been about, it was right in the beginning of, a few months after the lockdown started.
Yeah.
And they were pushing the claim that each day something like 10,000 new kids are vaping. Right in the middle of the damn lockdown, where nobody could leave the house, and mom and dad were staying at home from work, and the kids were homeschooling and not leaving the house, and somehow those kids are, they have a friend that's breaking quarantine to go out and buy jewels or puff bars and sneak them into these kids' houses so that they can create 5,000 new nicotine addicts a day. It's just not reasonable. But when one of these talking heads spout off that bullshit, people believe it.
And nobody says that the smoking rates are at historic across the board lows. So I'm going to say it, whether anybody likes it or not. Vaping products reduce smoking in all age groups, period. Hi, Mallory.
I see Addie and Mallory are also in the YouTube room. Hey, there are people that are utilizing the YouTube room. That never happens.
Mallory got blocked by a professional.
Woo! Good for you. I never get blocked, man. Except for I did make the Surgeon General cry.
You know, if you follow me the right way, you'd probably get blocked too, but you don't.
I say even meaner things than you, and I don't get blocked.
And you do. I know you do. And when I think it was Juka put the link, so I did a right-click private browser. That's on my computer. I don't know how to do it on the phone. There was one person that said this is bullshit or something to that effect, but there was really a lot of science on that thread, Mallory, and I don't understand why. They just don't like the truth. So there you go. So congratulations.
Woo-hoo. See, Simon hasn't even blocked me yet.
He still hasn't blocked you.
No.
Oh my God.
No.
Put my name in there, see if he does it.
I should tag you in one.
Yeah, tag me. I don't care. Doesn't bother me a bit.
I should tag you in one. Say my friend vaping it.
And I don't really like him, but
if I associate me with you, then then I won't, then I'll have to like surreptitiously, clandestinely, in the words of the Surgeon General, clandestinely watch Simon Chapman. So this is one that you posted in the thing. Underutilization of no tobacco sale orders against retailers that repeatedly sell to minors 2015 to 2019. So explain that, Kevin. Explain it.
You might as well just start drinking now, because I'm going to say the word sign our amendment, right? And let me get my bearings correct. I think I gave you guys the last link. Hang on.
Come on, Kevin. This is your thing.
You caught me with my pants down.
Nobody
underutilization.
Underutilization of no tobacco sale orders against retailers that repeatedly sell to minors. Now, just tearing the title of this apart, underutilization of no tobacco sale orders to retailers that repeatedly sell to minors. So they're saying that no tobacco sale orders have been placed on these retailers.
Right.
And that FDA or whoever is in charge, that FDA is not enforcing those no tobacco sale orders.
Right. Hang on.
Why are you sending me links in the middle of the show, man?
Oh, I posted it on your chat. Sorry. I was trying to put it in the chat.
That's the same one that I just have open.
I know. I tried to put it in the chat there. Now it's in the chat.
Uber.
As you were.
Man.
I was going to try to find my little happy quote. There it is. That was easy. I'm going to explain to you why.
Explain it.
So retailers aren't allowed to sell to minors. That's pretty common knowledge. I don't think we have to go through that. There are compliance checks that they have to go through. I shouldn't have to explain that. And then they can stop them from selling tobacco. They can take their friggin' licenses away. I shouldn't have to explain that. If you do that, shame on you, smack, smack. There's like $100 fine. And then if you do it again, I think it's within a year. I'm not positive of the timeline. you get a $200 fine within the year, I think. And then you get a $300 fine or $500 fine. But you can still sell tobacco or other products that are called tobacco. And then maybe they're going to possibly suspend your license for selling tobacco. So I say it 1,000 times a year, at least, if not more.
1,000?
1,000 or more.
Are you keeping track? I have to remove this to show yours.
I know. I linked it for them. So there's something called the Sinar Amendment. Now,
so what is that an amendment to?
Selling tobacco to kids. It's been around since, I think it's 98, if I remember correctly. Let me switch screens if it says it or not. 96, it was issued. I think it started in 98. So they want 20%. They want no more than 20% of people to sell or retailers to sell to minors. And then on the right
they're
side,
saying that it's okay to have a 20% failure rate on compliance checks.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. And what they want the states to do, because they pass it on to the state, not the FDA. The FDA is in charge of telling you what to do, but not actually doing it. And then the funding on the right side, this is actually from Glance's blog, which I normally do not use for any reason. They changed it recently, Patrick. Did you know that? They changed it.
The states, even if they have worse than 20% failure rate, they still get their money, right?
They still get their money.
They still get their money.
So now the secretary...
That's why I always say the Sinar Amendment is meaningless.
And then now they changed it to 10%. They can hold up to 10% of the money. So at the bottom, it's a 3-year grace period. What is the point of having it? Why is it there? What is it doing? It's not doing a friggin' thing.
So
stop it.
But it's meaningless. I mean, I've said this
meaningless
countless times, and you get all pissed off when I say that. It's meaningless.
I know it's.
You say Sinar Amendment to a politician, and they glaze over and they stop listening to you because they don't know what it is.
They don't
understand it. They don't care about it because it's free money. Even if you have a state that has a 25% failure rate and they hold 10% of your $700 million,
right?
It's still free money for them.
And Skip, if we said it wrong, she's correct. Less than 20, you get your money.
Yeah.
So there, that kind of rhymes. Less than 20, you get your money. And if it's 25%, you just get the fine. And then they say, well, we need more money because we're having more problems. So creating the problem is the actual thing that they're trying to do.
So this study is indicating that even people that have failed so badly that they've had their tobacco licenses pulled are still selling tobacco.
Yes.
And FDA is not enforcing.
Yes.
So it says research demonstrates that policies aimed at retailers who sell to minors must be strongly enforced to have an impact on youth usage rates. Duh.
We shouldn't have to go over that.
In the USA, the FDA conducts compliance checks, issues fines, and can order retailers to stop selling tobacco products, i.e., no tobacco sale orders or NTSOs, to enforce the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act. We sought to assess FDA's utilization of NTSOs. So, as a result, or their methods are, we conducted a quantitative content analysis of FDA's enforcement actions for inspections between October 1st of 2015 and March 29th of 2019. And from the 536,134 inspections, we identified 148 NTSOs and 249,720 unique retailer locations. So a lot of these people got seen twice, of which 2,095 had 3 or more violations.
3 or more.
Yes. So we randomly sampled NTSOs. That's no tobacco sale orders, and that's 76 of those had been issued. And retail locations, 152 with frequent violations. We calculated the proportion of NTSOs that could have been issued earlier by FDA. We then calculated the proportion of retailers that could have been issued an NTSO and the proportion actually issued an NTSO using FDA's approach and more stringent approach. So
the FDA's failure. That's all I needed to say.
Failure.
FDA just asked for $100 million raise.
Yes.
And they can't do it now.
Right.
So you're going to give them more money to fail?
Yes.
Fuck.
That's how the government works, right?
Fuck. And Skip's right. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing because the FDA says, okay, the state's got to do it. The state says, okay, you local fuckers got to do it. And then the local people are like, well, we don't want to do that.
Well, the problem is FDA are paying the local health departments and local LEOs to do enforcement
with our tax dollars.
With our tax dollars. So FDA contracts these purchases, the sting buys, and enforcement checks through independent contractors, and in many places, those contractors are the health departments or LEOs, law enforcement officers, law enforcement departments, to do that. They write a check and they say, okay, you're going to go out there and do this. Now, FDA also has guys that walk around with iPads that are doing a lot of the PMTA stuff.
Right.
And a lot of the enforcement on that kind of thing right now. But the actual sting buys are done through FDA actually publishes a list of all 50 states and who is contracted in all 50 states to do that. And most of them are the health departments and police departments and things like that. So they're saying that 94% of the issued NTSOs could have been issued earlier and under a more stringent approach.
And I'm going to add, I'm interrupting you rudely.
Do it.
Kristen said, thank you. Kristen says, tobacco control doesn't want FDA to succeed. If they couldn't buy them, they wouldn't have an excuse to tax and ban, comma. If you and I own a shop and it's in your name and we get dinged and you have to close, I just open it in my name, and we just move on with our day. It doesn't matter. You're right, it doesn't matter, and it pisses me off. So they're not doing their job. Failure.
Kevin, do you actually get pissed off or pissed on?
On occasion. The dog doesn't aim well sometimes, and it pisses me off.
Yeah. No, Addie, I actually already have it.
It's
right here.
There was a mix for Son of Liberty Radio.
No, that I already they were talking about tobacco mixes earlier in the chat room, and I couldn't talk at that moment.
I thought that was our mix.
No. Well, I mean, we could actually make this. I mean, obviously, the version that he has is not my version, but my version has twice as many ingredients. But
I'm not going to unpack. I'm going to wrap up. The FDA conducts compliance checks, and they fail. That's the story.
Well, what this is saying though is that and I'm going to air quote the enforcement discretion that FDA has. So they're saying that if FDA had not used their enforcement discretion and had followed the rules more stringently, then 94.7% of the no tobacco sale orders would have been issued earlier, and quite possibly could have stopped possible sales to kids earlier. So what I said about enforcement discretion earlier, this ties directly into that.
Yes.
So this is another weapon. This is another weapon that the plaintiffs in that lawsuit can pull to the judge and say, look, they've been using their enforcement discretion and failing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we've already said multiple times, Kristen, on this show, that the tobacco control people don't want us to win. They don't want the war against tobacco to end, because then they would have no jobs.
So as long as somebody can't quit smoking with approved products, they always have a job. As long as children are buying tobacco products of any kind, defined or not, they always have a job.
I actually tweeted a while ago to a certain public health information professor in Australia that that tobacco control doesn't want people to quit smoking.
No,
because
they don't.
If people quit smoking, then the dragon that they've been fighting for decades and decades will have died.
Mm-hmm.
And then they won't have a windmill to tilt at.
Nothing to fight
anymore. It's that they want to be Don Quixote. They want that unending war, because once they harpoon the great white whale and smoking is gone, they're out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "How dare you make those claims?" And I'm like, "Your actions prove my claims."
Well, they've been fighting it for 30 plus years, Patrick. They're tired.
Since 1960, somewhere around 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are in 2020. It's been 60 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
60 years. And only in the last 10 have huge declines occurred. Huge declines.
In all age groups.
And people are more satisfied with quitting than they've ever been.
I'm going to keep tweeting and chipping away at it, because people like Camilla are listening. So,
that's the thing is anybody that quit smoking using any other method, and even this method, if not, right. Anybody, but more people that quit cold turkey go back to smoking. More people go back to smoking that use the patches, that use the gums, that use the lozenges.
Right. Revolving.
But if somebody quits smoking with vaping, it doesn't have to be this, but with something like this, then even if they quit this, down the road, they get stressed out. Horrible things happen to their life.
Yep.
They don't have to go back to smoking. They have this.
Yep. That's the amazing part.
If recidivism occurs, if people backslide, they still have a 95% safer version of smoking to fall back on.
I've given that argument, and I may not be able to articulate it properly, but what is the harm? Kristen might give me a little better insight to say it properly. I tried quitting smoking. This is the story, not me specifically. I tried quitting smoking for the past 25 years. I've been smoking for 25 years. I'm 2 packs a day. I've tried the patches,
25 years.
I'm using someone else as a story. 25 years.
Because you started when you were like 8 and you're like 80 now.
9. So 25 years, 2 packs a day. I've quit probably 25 or 30 times. And every single time I go back to smoking, same guy or girl says, I tried to quit smoking 100 times or whatever the number is. And you know what? I tried this and I stopped within 48 hours and I've never smoked since. What are the harms of doing that 30 or 40 times in your lifetime and a 93% failure rate, or this, and it goes immediate? So how much harm are those people causing by saying only approved products? No, those are bad for you.
Yeah.
Popcorn lung. Right there. That's it.
So
okay,
I have to address what Addie has in the chat room, because there are certain things in there that are near and dear to my heart. So he says via the 2019 CDC Youth Survey, 30% of kids consume alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like alcohol.
You like alcohol, I know.
I like alcohol. So 19% considered suicide.
That's sad.
So we have a real epidemic in the United States, and it doesn't have anything to do with vaping.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about, mental health problems.
Yes.
And I'm almost 50 years old, Kevin. In my almost 50 years, I have never seen such numbers of of mental health issues, period, but
out of control,
uncontrolled
out
mental health
control.
problems.
Yes, out of control, completely
out of control. And and there's been a huge spike. There's a lot of things that are going on in people's lives that have never gone on before.
Yep.
And even before the pandemic,
mm-hmm.
that has occurred, which has done nothing but magnify the mental health issues. But people that use substances, any substance, whether that's illicit drugs, whether that's alcohol, whether that's tobacco or nicotine products, generally do so not for the buzz, not for the flavors, but for those MAOIs that are in cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
The euphoric feeling. I don't want to really say euphoric feeling, but when you are in a situation where you're stressed out so badly.
Well, you make me chain vape, so there you go.
Well, that's just because I vape all the time, and that means you vape all the time. But people that smoke tend to smoke because they have stress in their lives, they have depression in their lives, they have situations in their life that are out of their control, and that's one thing that improves that situation. When I had a bad day, when I worked in the restaurant world, specifically when I worked in the restaurant world, and when I worked for the UN and dig up mass graves, people shooting at you made you smoke cigarettes more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're in the kitchen and you're working hard, and people are yakking, and there's people are running from one side of the kitchen to the other, and it's a fast-paced, very stressed out situation.
Yep.
And that 5-minute smoke break is what kept you sane.
Mm-hmm.
So
closer to sane.
Yeah. So we always said the people that are mentally ill, people that are
mm-hmm.
suffering from some sort of diagnosed or undiagnosed mental illness, the uneducated, and the poor.
Yep.
Those are the people that tend to those are the highest percentages of people that smoke. And also the people that drink in excess.
Said it. The rise in depression, drug use, drinking, and obesity, food abuse correlates suspiciously with the decline in nicotine use. So stop smoking for the past 30 years that I know, clearly know.
Yeah.
And all those things have gone progressively forward up.
So, if you've ever been to an NA or an AA meeting, like in the past, or an Al-Anon, in the past, those meetings tend to have like large coffee pots in the back of the room and ashtrays everywhere.
Yep.
So, I can't be the only one. We can't be the only ones that notice this stuff.
I don't have a degree to notice this stuff.
Well, I don't have a degree in that to know this stuff.
Right.
But it's odd to me that all of these things that Addie all of these risky. I have to scroll up because Addie had all these risky behaviors all tie to those things.
Yes.
So alcohol use, suicidal ideation, texting and driving is just not. I mean, that's dangerous behavior, but I don't think abuse of prescription drugs, unprotected sex, all of those things, are following. They all fall into the same little lines,
same categories.
Yeah. And risky behavior. All those things, that people do, all tie into people. Those people that do those behaviors are substance abusers.
I'm going to ask you.
Sexual addictiveness may not be a drug in itself, but it's as good as drugs if you do it right.
I'll ask you the same question, and that was funny. What harms are these people doing by also going after the kids? Well, not the kids, us using the kids, and ignoring all of these issues that are going on in the world. Because literally, that's what it seems like to me when they rise.
Instead of addressing vaping is a symptom of a problem.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Let's address the actual problem.
Right.
That is pushing people to these risky behaviors that you don't approve of.
But Patrick, treating the symptom, not the cause, is never a good outcome.
No, that's why I'm telling them not to treat the symptom.
Right, that's what they're doing.
Well, that's all they do is that's the norm, at least in American medical, is to prolong the illness by treating the symptoms instead of going after the root cause.
Yeah. I learned that with Janice and our little journey, and it just stunned me. It's absolutely fucking stunned me. Knowing what I know in the past 5 years, it still stunned me.
So I think everybody in this chat room has probably already done this.
What?
But the lovely Skip Murray did post a link, and I'm assuming
cranky old broad.
No, the beautiful and lovely Skip Murray.
I haven't got a picture of her husband being alive, so I don't know that for sure if she's still lovely or not.
Why would she be less lovely if her husband wasn't alive?
I'm concerned for his safety. That's all.
He should have pinned this to his profile. I have to scroll through his entire feed, and he tweets quite frequently.
Yes, Kristen. Yes.
To find this damn poll.
Oh, like 300 and something people, I think.
Wait, it's not done though, right? People that haven't responded. Oh, it's done.
So highlight our comments, her comment. Just copy and then paste it.
It won't even let me click in that. I can't click in that. If I click it, it tries to show it.
Oh.
And it won't let me. It won't let me copy the text. Now, if I go over to the Smoke Free Radio show, maybe I can.
It's nice of you to join us.
Yeah, I can't actually click on people's comments like you can.
Let's see. Well, I feel special then.
Yeah. And I know that Skip has tagged me in it, but I want, so it's done. It doesn't matter. I can't share it anyways, right? Are you saying that it's completed? People cannot continue to respond that haven't already responded?
I'm trying to find it. Hold on. Let me see. I got pranked. Where'd it go?
I don't know.
Hold on. I'll find it. Well, I'm looking at her status she sent us. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I don't know that the results are any less interesting than what I thought it would be.
There we go. Share screen.
Did you rub it?
Chrome tab. I left it rubbed. It's just sitting there all by itself, all big and stuff. Share. Here we go. Okay. Anonymous Human Rights Survey. With love for anyone living with neurodiversity. Charles is always good for giving us new things to learn. For safer nicotine advocates only, do you self-identify as an adult living with any of the following? PTSD, anxiety, depression, ADHD, which my son definitely has, autism, bipolar, which he's borderline, if not completely, Tourette's, schizophrenia. He couldn't put enough things in here.
I actually have 2 of those.
Okay.
And one that's not on there.
See?
That I don't self-identify as that. I have been diagnosed with those.
Right. So his assumption or presumption, whichever you like, would be answer the question and move on. So 321, which was pretty good. We pumped it a couple times. But you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that he put on there, and probably another 10 that he could have put on there, knowing his education. So 74%.
Yeah.
74%. Now, have I been diagnosed ever with anxiety? No. Have I ever had it? Sure, of course. You go through life. That's what life is.
I think you have schizophrenia.
I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I. So you can see clearly 74%, 75 round up. 75% of the people, humans, who answered the question. I don't think this was random people just pulling into Twitter going,
no, I mean, it says it's for us. It's for safer nicotine advocates only.
Right.
So it's for people that use these products. Obviously, he wants to know which percentage of the people that responded to the poll and who use these products, and have these problems.
So 2 things that make me sad. 1, there's only 321 votes. That makes me very sad. And what also makes me sad is that Charles has 5,976 followers, and he should have 50,000 followers. And that this is so high. This number is huge. This is a completely huge number of people who are self-identifying, at least, if not. And I'm sure if we go down Camilla's first comment on there, and I saw this the other day, and this is part of why I do Twitter. Am I still being shared, sir?
Yes.
I have never vaped or smoked, she said. I would like to give my dad a voice. He would have answered yes. RIP Dad. Took us many years. We finally understand. Probably undiagnosed is my assumption at the moment. And I literally quote tweeted her. There you go. I was correct. And said, this is why I tweet. This is why I'm on Twitter, for this person here and millions of people who don't understand what's going on. So when you see, oh, look, there's our friend. When you see these things, and people did say, I had, like this one here, he's been no nicotine since the 7th. His mentality has changed still to this day. Nicotine was keeping me balanced, especially since I've had it in my system since I was 8 years old. So stories like that are not unimportant. Stories like that are extremely important. And the people who aren't listening in the study we shared earlier are still pissing me off. There's 1,000 reasons why.
So David Emanuel in the chat room says that I'm a school psychologist working with youth, and every kid I've caught vaping in school, in school vaping, have mental health issues too, and these are bigger problems than ever during the pandemic. Yes, that's exactly what we've been saying.
Wow.
That's exactly what we've been saying.
Why are 2 chuckleheads in Texas and Ohio, thank you for having me, Patrick, putting this out there in public ability to find, and no one wants to listen to it? And we're not the first freaking guys to ever say this. Don't get me wrong. We don't have that big a head. Well, Patrick does. Why are people not listening to people like David, obviously, who I did not know what you did for a living? So thank you for sharing that, because wow.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. He said that I've seen caught in school, not that he caught them.
Right.
We've had Bart on the show. Bernie. Bard has been on the show, and Bard will come back on the show. He just had
that one.
really bad phone connection.
Yep.
Really bad phone connection that night. No, we love Bard. We will have Bard on again for sure. Because he also works with at-risk youth.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yes.
So David said they got sent to him, and he tries to get at the root of the problem. I'm sure was the end of that sentence.
Because he's a school psychologist, and
more of David.
we need every school needs like 5 Davids or more.
Man.
Because we need to understand. And if I scroll through my feed, if I scroll through my Twitter feed, I'm going to do this because this is important.
Okay.
This is because I tweeted this a long time ago. Before way before World Vape Day, World No Tobacco Day. I did see a story, Kevin, while I'm doing this. I did see a story the other day about World Vape Day, and they were bragging about a 3-hour live stream during World Vape Day.
What?
And I said,
must have been Brent.
Big effing deal. We did 5 hours.
It must have been Brent.
We did 5 hours, and we had Bruni come on. We had Liana come on. We had John. I can't remember John's name. I did tweet it though. We had John came on the show and told their personal vape stories on the show. And I was like, we were on for 5 whole hours showing like the tweets and showing people how to tweet and having guests like come in and give their stories.
Tell us stuff.
Bruni was awesome. I cut Bruni's and made his into a special highlight video tweet. And then the other 2, because they were longer than the allowed Twitter length, both John and Leanna overran the Twitter limit, so I couldn't clip their videos.
Kristen said she'd have been 8 hours.
Well, next time we'll invite you.
Oh, yeah, the Thunder from Down Under. I think I failed to say his name at the end. I can't remember if I did or not. But
did I bookmark this? I think I might have.
I don't know.
Give me a minute. I'm going to go look at my bookmarks real quick.
You fumble nuts. So that survey that Charles did, and he's done a few, and if you follow him, you'll see him. Hint, hint, hint. So when someone's under their understanding, my dad must have had. So when I'm going through with Janice, the Alzheimer's thing, and thinking, my mom must have had it undiagnosed as well, kind of thing. That's the part where I go, wow,
Well, I mean, over the years, there's Alzheimer's.
Yep.
There's dementia, which is not the same thing as Alzheimer's.
Right.
Then there's age-related mental decline, which is just getting older. And they're all shades of very similar things. And, used to be, we just sort of expected older people to mentally decline.
You're going to get old timers. And
it was, and a lot of times people that have dementia get diagnosed as Alzheimer's, which is not. Fundamentally, the way they work in the brain is completely different. Right. The symptoms look similar, but they're not the same. And it's sad to see, like full-blown Alzheimer's, to see these people literally lose the ability to speak.
Yep.
Literally forget to go to the bathroom. You literally have to put the spoon in their hand and guide the spoon to their mouth because they've forgotten how to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And if it, you know,
And there's
I will categorically say that nicotine would work for every one of them.
Right. Correct.
But Dr. Paul Newhouse has done amazing research into nicotine's effect on reducing cognitive decline in you know, those situations. So, you know, I'm hoping, because if nicotine is one of those things that reduces people's risk, and we find out now, think of how many people we can improve their quality of life.
Right. And I'm going to promote the Mind Study site for you guys if you haven't seen it. Not in the message for Patrick. I'm going to actually put it in the chat this time.
Put it in chat. Put it in chat.
That's that's the actual link to the Mind Study. It's with National Institutes of Health, Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation, Vanderbilt University, and Southern California. They just released something, and I always look very hard at things that come out. They just released a drug after 20-something years, a week ago or so, and it's intravenous. It's extremely expensive, and the same exact things that they say about everything else there. It's proved. It's approved, but the FDA has the right to take it back off the market if they see, which is, you know, like everything else, but very, very expensive. It's
well, any drug or anything that the FDA approves or grants marketing orders to can be immediately. Those marketing orders or approvals can be rejected or pulled at any time, reversed, not rejected, at any time. So, dude, I am still on my. I've been scrolling this whole time, and I'm still doing the World Vape Day.
Okay, well, Mallory,
World Vape Day tweets.
You ate an expert for breakfast this morning, young lady. So there you go.
Yeah. So wow, it's, you know,
that's what she had.
Damn, my fingers are getting tired.
Look at you. You need more nicotine in your life. That's all.
Well, I mean, I made 12 milligram. These, there, you know, if there are people that would claim that would blow the back of their skull out.
And speaking of the things that I'm not going to say, can you read that?
Black Flag Risen, yeah.
Have you had that yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't have to cover anything up. We've had the
I don't know the rules.
The J and the RJ on the show.
I don't know the rules sometimes.
There's no rules. You can
There's
you can
no
show.
rules.
Do you actually like Black Flag Risen?
I do.
That's the coffee and tobacco.
It's rare that I go. Well, Leanna will probably tell you, and so would Jennifer. Have you mailed those things, by the way? Since we're talking about Jennifer suddenly, and Nick, because if I say their names, they'll pop in the room.
Oh, I have to send Nick now because I sent Nick. I found refillable.
Yeah.
Refillable, rechargeable e-cigars on a Chinese website.
Oh.
And we need to buy 50 of them, and it's going to cost $700 for 50 of them.
Well,
I want him to buy 50 of them, and then I can buy 3 or 4 from him.
Black Flag Rising. There you go.
Yeah, I've got the original packaging of that came in a silver and black. You know how Five Ponds comes in the cans? They come in the
Yes.
tubes. They're used to come in the tubes.
I've seen them. I did not have those.
I have the original packaging, and there was 2 of them. There was Black Flag Rising and Black Flag Fallen.
Ah.
And the one that I really liked is the one that they no longer sell.
Oh. Wow. Oh, look, Jay's in the room.
See, now I have to chastise Jay because he sent you shit and he didn't send me stuff.
And no,
and I know that Castle Long Reserve is coming out next week.
Uh-oh. Thank you, Jay. Now I can say it personally. I didn't want to do an email or whatever. Anyway,
Jay should come on.
It's actually good, and I'm an 18 guy, so yeah, it's perfect.
He actually posted a video of himself on Facebook earlier, so I know that he has a camera.
What?
Yeah, he posted a video of himself earlier.
Camera when he was here.
Well, no, but like he doesn't have any excuse. He should come on now, not in the future. Like he should just, he should come on.
David said a drop of 12 will kill you.
Okay, I finally found it.
Good.
This is from March 24th.
Yeah.
I finally found it.
All right, I trust you.
So I tweeted, "Why do people use drugs? ? Why do people drink ? Why do people smoke ? If you want to solve a drug use problem, alcoholism, and smoking, you should be asking these questions instead of demonizing people. Races don't start at the finish line." Hashtag harm reduction. Hashtag safer options are greater than prohibition. So, I mean, and look, Kevin, this is measly. Only 6 retweets and 13 likes. This is the root. This is what we've been dealing with. This is one of the reasons why we had Dr. Mark Tyndall on the show. One of the reasons why we had Dr. Charles Gardner on the show. One of the reasons why we had Dr. Mara Glover on the show twice was to push the fact that people do or choose or do, or participate in risky activities and behaviors for a reason.
Yep.
Why are they doing that?
Right.
So, this is the end game, is to drive people towards the fact that people use these substances. People need these substances because of, chemical imbalance in the brain or whatever it is.
Yep.
That we operate at a normal level.
Correct.
With nicotine that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it.
I like
people
the song.
Use drugs because of mental problems.
Correct.
Mental illness.
So for my friends outside of the U.S., if in the world, because some of you guys don't know who Genesis is, but the song
Genesis?
Right, the Man on the Corner song.
Yeah.
I like that for a lot of reasons. And you drive past somebody, you don't know why they're there, you don't know what the problems may be, and if you're holding that textbook up, you don't care.
Just another day of you and me in paradise.
It's not the same song, you goofball. There's a lonely man there on the corner. That's all. Anyway, it's you're prejudging 90% of the time. So if you're a professional in tobacco control, they're evil, bad smokers. That's what they are.
No,
they're not people.
She calls out to the man on the street, "Sir, can you help me? It's cold and I've nowhere to sleep. Is there somewhere you can tell me?" That's another day in paradise.
Right. That's not Man on the Corner.
The man on the street.
You're wrong. And duly noted, it's 12:20.
So what is that, the 4th time this year?
I think 4. I think we're up to 4. So, Kirsten, I'm the guy that goes out there and joins the criminals.
So Kristen is addressing because here's the thing. Some people that vape maybe have a adapted or adopted the tactics of the people that we hate
Could.
by stigmatizing the people that haven't made the choice that you've made
by joining the choir. They join the choir. Yeah.
So that is true. I'm saying we right now. I mean, I personally go and hang out with the smokers and vape in front of them, hoping that they'll ask me questions about vaping, even though the smell does drive me up the wall. But yes,
I like criminal element. I don't.
We have fallen down the slippery slope. Lots of vapors have decided that they're superior because they've made the choice.
I still identify as a smoker.
Oh, period. I guarantee you. I'm telling you now, dude.
Person that smokes.
I would be a person that smokes if I couldn't get what I like. If the products were gone, I'd be going back to my Camel filterless or Lucky Strikes or whatever, specifically because I need the nicotine. And
so there is the divide.
Huh?
There is a divide there. The people who want to join the anti-haters are that group. And then there's us who go, well, wait a minute. They're still allowed to smoke. That's the divide.
I mean, Bruni also addresses the fact that there are a lot of people who walk up to me, and it's addressed in our intro video by Senator Holly Hughes. Well, not that particular situation, but yes, people are like, well, I quit cold turkey, so why can't you?
Mm-hmm. Have you ever smoked?
Then shut up.
I love that.
That is
one of the best quotes we've ever had.
That is an amazing show. I invite people to go back and watch that show. And the Dr. Mark Tyndall show that you weren't here for was supremely awesome. Mm-hmm. You missed a lot of the good shows, Kevin.
All I know is if you're going to share your knowledge, you can't go like this all day long. That's all. So your child might touch a stove if you never say anything. And if you found something that helped you and you find someone else who's like, man, I got to quit, but I still can't. Do those work? You can have a conversation with people who still smoke. It's okay. I highly suggest it.
Yeah.
Highly. And if you follow Dr. Gardner, and a lot of people that are way smarter than both Patrick and I, then you'll understand how to converse with them and hand them links if they go that far. You don't have to push it down their throat any more than you didn't like it when people pushed it down your throat. But yeah, you can do stuff like that. It's easy.
Yeah, and there are people, not Mallory, Kristen brings up in the chat room that a lot of people are pissed off that CASA fights and defends and advocates for other reduced harm products.
Yes, they do,
because they're idiots. Not CASA, but the people that are complaining about it.
Right.
There are plenty of people that found snooze, and snooze worked for them, and snooze should be defended. There are plenty of people that quit with nicotine pouches.
Smokeless tobacco. It doesn't matter.
Anything that gets you off of the cigarettes is worth fighting for.
And we discussed this last week. I look at things most of the time. I look at things and go, how does it really affect me personally? How you choose to do whatever it is you do or don't do. And then I go from there. So I always ask that question.
Elaine Keller's quote
is
still as valuable today as it was when she said it.
Yep.
And I can't verbatim it, but it's essentially, why is the way I quit smoking relevant to you? You know, why do you care?
What does my addiction to nicotine have to do with your wanting me to quit or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Or to get cancer, I think is what it said. I'd have to find. Do you have it somewhere?
Kristen's in the chat room. Kristen will throw it up there in a second. She knows exactly what it is. You know, it really hurts my feelings. It really does, and I don't understand these public health people. They know all the stuff that you just said. They know that people smoke, people drink, people gamble, people do all of these risky behaviors because of some trauma or some mental illness or whatever.
Yep.
And instead of addressing those traumas, those mental illnesses, those whatevers, they go after the behavior that will
shame people.
Yeah, and make it worse.
To do it. That's what they do. That's their job. Fuck. Yeah, something your concern over my addiction to nicotine versus her concern over getting lung cancer. That's probably more closely related to what she said. But yeah, it's been there forever.
Yeah.
That was like 2009 or 11 or something. It's been around a while.
Yeah, why is your concern about my addiction more important than my concern about getting cancer?
And leave me alone. Kiss my ass. Doesn't matter.
So we'll go ahead and show the Lance Churchill tweet that you sent.
Yeah. Yeah, Lance, pretty active, not completely. I
see him all the time.
Like I like this for a reason. The way he put it on his line, he can't tell if this is good or bad. It's definitely above his pay grade. The addiction of nicotine dominated the evaporation dynamics of the e-cig aerosol, and that flavoring additives in e-liquid significantly decrease the volatility of e-cig aerosol. Now, I don't even care about the study momentarily. I care about the guys asking a question or stating in a different form a question. I can't tell if this is good or bad. If any of you guys are in the room that don't want to know the answer, good or bad, you need to leave. Really.
Yeah.
I hope you stay. I hope, but I'm looking for, and so is probably everybody in the room, good or bad. Dr. Farsalinos had a bunch of shit about formaldehyde and cinnamon, and everybody was pissed off at Dr. F. He's telling us the truth. It's that important to me that if I say, well, geez, what does this mean? I don't know the answer. It is above my pay grade. Let me ask someone who knows. Maybe Kristen can shoot it off to someone she knows, or maybe I can shoot it off to Patrick and somebody he knows can find it. And then I can come back and tweet what they've said, or tweet them if they've said it. It doesn't matter, because that's how fast something can or cannot go south. So when the experts have it first because they don't want to what's the word you want to use? Corroborate with tobacco companies. Piss off. You know why? Because I trust them more than I trust the people who are in charge. So they get the study. They can say what they want. They plaster it everywhere for 4 months with media. Some things are popping back up again, like the 28% of the kids smoke from 2019 or vape from 2019. If we get it first, somebody looks at it, somebody you trust, of course. I don't want bullshit on the menu. Then you can go, this doesn't taste so much like bullshit. This is actually good. So when he says it's above my pay grade, Lance, I appreciate that type of tweet, because we're looking for it good or bad. Period. You should. No question.
There are quite a few people, though, that vape that are unwilling to hear
the bad.
those things. Vaping is
Questionable,
perfect.
right?
This is the thing. We want.
No.
This is something we inhale this into our body. We are voluntarily putting this into some of the most delicate organs in our body. The lungs are very delicate.
Yeah.
I, for one, want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know from reputable scientists, but I want to be able to at least peruse it, read it, find how they designed the study, what they did to get the results that they got. So
when someone
I want to know at least, even, well, I don't want to say that, but there are a lot of people that would say, well, even at its worst, vaping is still safer than smoking. Not necessarily true.
Right.
Not necessarily true. I want to know. I have a risk threshold that I'm willing to accept. Right. That's what we're doing. We are. What are the guys that work for the insurance companies that assess risk? Those guys. Yeah. We want to do that for ourselves. We want to assess the risk that we are imposing on our bodies ourselves. So, if, for example, certain e-liquids are only 15% safer than smoking, I want to know that. I
do too. Amazingly,
but I can make the choice myself to choose the 95% safer one versus the 15% safer one. You know what I'm saying?
Two reasons. Your reason, and when I'm tweeting and someone, like in this instance tonight, Camilla, sees it, she doesn't think I'm a complete dumbass.
Well, you are a complete dumbass, but
I hope she doesn't notice that part. But what I want to do is be able to explain myself or show a link, because if it is better than me, automatically, and I don't want to act like a retard, So
Kristen's making fun of me.
Good. Where is that?
Well, she says risk assessors laugh out loud because I said the people that assess risk. So there's an actual term. Good night, Addie. Thank you for coming.
Good night, Addie.
So yeah, I mean, if I want people to conduct scientific studies,
we should always encourage.
And I want them to do them all the time. Actuary. Thank you, Janine.
There, see,
that is the word that I was looking for.
I am so glad we have such good-looking, smarter people than us in our audience.
Even Skip Murray, who is young and beautiful, sir.
Cranky, but she used crabby earlier. I'm unhappy with that term. That's not crabby. You're cranky. She was worked up earlier too, so that was good.
Yeah. So apathy's leaving us as well. Good night, apathy.
So you have a network of people. I put this in a tweet earlier. It doesn't matter what the study is. Within a week, which is bad because it's a week of traction for them to say popcorn lung or cinnamon or whatever the fucking thing is, drink. They got a week to do it. They got a week or more to do that. And they like propaganda. They like misinformation. And they know better, but they're going to do it anyway because they're nonprofit. They can say what they want.
Then they don't answer to anybody because they don't have shareholders.
They have nobody to take their hand and smack it. So then when someone like Dr. F, who already has his hands full, I'm sure, with his real job, comes to terms with whatever it is, and then says, no, they did this wrong, completely wrong. Oh, they took the safety off it and they just pushed the button. That's why you're getting formaldehyde. That was the formaldehyde one. Just one study.
Mm-hmm.
That one study took 2 months to debunk, but that's not what you hear in the news. What you hear in the news is formaldehyde. And it will never stop. So I appreciate the tobacco companies that are doing research. I don't care who pays. I don't care. Don't care. I want to know what's good or bad.
I posted a study in the chat
Yeah.
And
Thanks for joining us.
not in the chat room here, but in our private chat. It was published on the NIH website, PubMed.gov,
I'll see it.
National Library of Medicine.
Okay.
And it's called Reasons for Vaping Amongst U.S. 12th Graders.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So we're going to read the introduction here. It says, vaping has recently increased in popularity amongst adolescents. Little is known about heterogeneity, I can't say that right, of vapors, particularly in terms of why they vape. Identifying major subgroups of adolescent vapors by reasons for vaping is important to understand adolescent vaping behavior and to identify those most at risk for other substance abuse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the methods, they use the monitoring future data from the 2015 and 2016 surveys, and were used in a latent class analysis to identify subgroups of 12th graders based on their endorsement of 10 potential reasons for vaping. Multi-nominal regression with latent class outcome was used to predict class membership. So what they did was divided amongst they tried to develop a class, basically like they do for a lawsuit. People that have the same responses. So it says here, 3 distinct classes of vapors were identified. Adolescents who were vaping to experiment, that was 29.4%. And that could be the kid that said, I tried it once, that's vaping for experimentation. Then they said vaping to replace cigarettes, that was 7.3%. 3, vaping for taste or entertainment, 63.4%. Vaping only flavors was associated with lower odds of membership, and cigarette use was associated with higher odds of membership in the vaping to replace cigarette subgroup, and marijuana was associated with lower odds of membership in vaping for entertainment subgroup. So they divided it based on why you did it, what substances you were doing it, and they did not. They're basically saying the kids that said that they vaped marijuana did not go into the taste or entertainment category. And yes, David, if they had included, David brings up a point. He says, I would hope they would have experimented before they were seniors. So if they had included a broader category, if they'd started with 9th grade, the number of people that did it to experiment would have been higher versus. So there are other categories that I know exist in this.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, I mean, obviously entertainment / vaping for taste would also include yes, this is from 2015 and 2016, would also include those that are doing it because their friends are doing it.
Yeah.
But they're saying vaping for experiment was only, 29.4%, close to 30%. So 1/3. So if they're saying, for example, that 20% of the youth are vaping, then 1/3 of those did it once, probably for an experiment, and then didn't do it again, or only did it a few times and didn't do it again. They're probably insinuating these are those who are going to be addicted to nicotine or lifelong, So, sadly, I don't have the full text.
And Kirsten's monitoring future data from 2015, 2016. I'm going to remind everybody that Glantz has been quoted as saying they are in public health. They are tobacco issues. They are 20 to 30 years behind the current stuff. This is 5, 6 years old, 7 years old data.
Yeah. And obviously
way behind.
Well, I'm trying to pull up the full text.
Okay.
No, it won't give me the full text.
Conclusion.
So the conclusion is, the conclusion is this study identified multiple subgroups of vapors based on the reasons for vaping, whereas a small subgroup vaped for reasons related to cigarette use. So they're saying small subsection did so because of that. What most adolescent vapors reported vaping for reasons unrelated to cigarette use. There were considerable differences in primary reasons for vaping and risk to traditional cigarette and other substance use, suggesting different intervention strategies may be needed for different subgroups of vapors, which is not inaccurate.
All right.
I mean, obviously, we just said that people should be addressed individually, that these, they should meet the people where they are, not where you want them to be.
Right.
However, yes, the problem is this is the 2015 and 2016 numbers, and the products that they claim that most kids use now were not widely available in 2015 and 2016.
Right.
So the Juul was around, but it had not received. I mean, I can remember in 2015, 2016, they had distribution problems. They had short stock on a lot of things and had difficulty getting supplies. There was a huge amount of these products not being, the products that kids use now supposedly were not available then. And obviously nicotine salts hadn't widely been distributed then that are now.
How reliable is data, according to their own words, that these children are brain damaged and they can't possibly be reporting this correctly to their adult questions that are skewed, and the multiple choice problems, and it's multifaceted stupidity. Hey, what are you putting on for your answer? Oh, I'm gonna put that on mine too.
Well, I mean, and
you were that kid, right?
We had one of the people that would go around and distribute those questionnaires back in the day.
Yes, we did.
On the show multiple times.
Mr. Gorlitz, yes.
David Gorlitz would go and do the tobacco talk, and then that's when they would distribute the surveys. And, I remember as a kid being a smart ass and not thinking that it was important to add those comments properly.
You were a smart ass.
Yeah. So, and Kristen addresses in the survey, it depends on how the questions are answered. If they ask, why do you vape? Choose all that apply below.
Yep.
Then they're going to they're going to either check the box or click the box for all the things. But it doesn't give them the answer for the main reason.
Nope. And for those of you who are newer to the chat world, I did this at first when I started watching Demetrius years ago. He's talking to somebody that made a comment, and I can't find the damn comment because it's on a different platform. So if you guys are wondering where Kristen is, she's on YouTube.
We have tonight. We've received comments from all three platforms. From YouTube, there are people watching on YouTube. There are people watching on Facebook, and the show is also on Twitter.
I don't want them thinking that you're making comments up and making up names. That's all. I'm concerned.
Oh, well.
Trying to meet you where you are.
There's an article that I also shared with you.
What?
This is the last one on all of the pre-vetted articles.
Pre-vetted, like we have.
These are all the pre-vetted articles. So this is from QR.
Okay. Yeah.
IUS. I believe this is probably an Indian website because it is mostly about India, but it says here, vaping scare stories undermine international efforts to curb smoking.
Huh.
So vaping scare stories. Stories that scare people away from vaping are undermining international efforts to curb smoking.
No. What?
Interesting. Huh.
It sounds the same in any language anywhere in the world, doesn't it?
So the WHO, the World Health Organization, stirred up controversy by granting Indian Health Minister Harsh. This guy's name is Harsh. Vardhan.
Not judge.
A prestigious award for World No Tobacco Day held on May 31st. Stunningly, the WHO chief Tedros, and I'm not saying Dr. Tedros' name, explicitly tied the award to Vardhan's successful effort to ban e-cigarettes in India, a controversial move which has been described as and I can't click that, so I can't read the rest of that sentence. But it says the World Health. Oh yeah, here he is. As an
own goal.
Yeah, a controversial move which has been described as an own goal by harm reduction advocates. One journalist compared the WHO's choice to award Vardhan's anti-vaping advocacy to awarding the Nobel Peace Prize for banning peace talks, warning that the WHO's short-sighted stance on vaping could cost countless lives in India and beyond. So this is a tweet. This is the tweet that specifically talks about this. So Tom Chivers says, you got an award for tobacco control if you help ban e-cigarettes. This is like getting the Nobel Peace Prize for banning peace talks.
Mm-hmm.
So that is an amazing tweet. And this is not one of us.
No, it's not.
But he's a blue check mark.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves Terry Pratchett. So I'm gonna follow him because I love Terry Pratchett as well.
So they are awarding themselves awards for banning less harmful alternatives. So they're awarding
harm reduction products.
So what they're really doing is awarding themselves for continuing to sell what they say is bad.
So Jay, you can talk to me about that later. It's going to cost money. 5 Ponds could become a sponsor of Smoke Free Radio. Just saying.
So
the blame game, because it does cost money. I'm at the maximum number of outlets that I can broadcast to without spending more money. The blame game, the WHO's misstep, is just the latest example of public health officials and policymakers ceding to panic rather than examining the scientific evidence. India banned the sale of e-cigarettes 2 years ago in a knee-jerk reaction to panicked reports of a rise in teen use in the United States. See, this is the thing.
It wasn't even us.
Which drives me crazy.
Yep.
So the public health asshole in Australia
Mr.
uses the American youth epidemic as justification for causing shit to happen in Australia.
Yep.
Even though at that point there had been no dialogue at all in their media about a youth vaping epidemic in Australia. Oh, well, it's happening in America, so we must stop it here too.
Mm-hmm.
So India justified their overnight locking of all the vape shops in India.
Success.
I apologize to all of my friends in India. Samrat Chowdhury, who's been on the show, the current president of INCO.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize that our crap has been exported to your country. The reports of a teen vaping craze turned out to be overblown, but India has stubbornly stuck to the ban, even as elsewhere countries are adopting sensible regulatory approaches to e-cigarettes and even incorporating the devices into their strategies to curb smoking. Moreover, evidence has mounted that e-cigarettes do not act as a gateway to smoking, but rather as an effective tool to quit smoking. In the US and the UK, for example,
Across all age groups.
Smoking across all age groups has fallen
did I
to
just
historic lows as many smokers have switched to vaping.
I just said that an hour ago.
Yes, you did.
All
Historic.
age groups.
We are geniuses, Kevin. Fuck. These people listen to our show and then they write articles. They steal our stuff, man.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Following the science, with an estimated 15% of deaths worldwide attributed to tobacco smoking. So 15% of the people who die in the world die because of tobacco-related illness. Any strategy that leads to a reduction in combustible tobacco use is critical. A recent review of clinical studies found e-cigarettes to be highly effective at helping smokers to quit, returning better success rates than either using nicotine patches or simply attempting to give up the habit cold turkey. The review also found no clear evidence of harm, and observations supported by Public Health England's findings that e-cigarettes are roughly 90% less harmful than smoking, at least, and only 0.5% as likely to present a risk of cancer. According to Cancer Research UK, e-cigarettes are less harmful than tobacco smoking, while anti-smoking charity ASH agrees that they can be helpful. They can be a helpful quitting tool.
That's ASH UK, not ASH United States.
Not our ASH. You bet your ASH. While most of the studies acknowledge that we do not yet have data on any potential long-term effects from vaping, the benefits of having smokers switch to e-cigarettes seems overwhelming. In a recent BMJ modeling exercise, the impact of replacing smoking entirely with vaping in the US suggests that millions of lives, as many as 6.6 million, could be saved. I like this because, did you link this in the chat room, by the way?
Yes.
Because all of these blue texts, are links to the sources.
Yeah, I think I did. I'll do it again just in case.
Do it again because I want to make sure people can read this.
Oh, yeah, I did.
It is amazing.
A
question of public image. The Public Health England evidence review underlines the importance of unambiguously communicating the benefits of switching from smoking to vaping. That this hasn't happened on a large enough scale speaks to the lack of clarity in public messaging, not least from the WHO, whose spokesperson people consistently peddle the accurate yet unrealistic message that the safest approach is not to consume either combustible tobacco products or e-cigarettes. That is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Never starting smoking or never starting vaping is way less harmful than using either one.
Right.
I would never suggest to anyone, hey, smoke a cigarette, man. You don't smoke? Here, have a cigarette. I would never do that.
Wait a minute, though.
I would also
hang on.
Not just come up to somebody who doesn't vape and go, you know what, here, have a vape. I would never do that.
But have you ever said you need a drink?
No, I always say I need a drink.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't purposely for someone who doesn't want to drink for whatever reason. Yeah, you need a drink. You wouldn't force it upon them, but just in conversation, hey, you need a drink. Calm down. You need a cigarette. Calm down.
I might be hyperbolic and say something like that. Calm your ass down and have a beer or something like that.
We'll go there.
Would be hyperbole. That would be
just undue Bloomberg brainwashing is a hashtag we should all be using.
Well, I don't know that this article has anything about Bloomberg in it, but yes. In a 2020 Q&A, meanwhile, the WHO implied that vaping wasn't necessarily safer than smoking.
How does that even come out of anybody's mouth? No, not necessarily.
How could any scientist or doctor or healthcare provider or anybody with a clear conscience make that claim?
Unnecessarily. Oh
A
my
claim
God.
divorce from scientific evidence that drew swift condemnation from experts, including one researcher into tobacco addiction who accused the WHO of blatant misinformation. Let's click on that tweet.
Freaking lutely.
Oh, it's not even. Who is this? This is Science Media Center. This is Dr. Nick Hopkinson, reader in respiratory medicine at the National Heart and Lung Institute, Imperial College of London, said, "We know that e-cigarettes are substantially safer than smoking because the toxic substances present in cigarette smoke are either completely absent or present at much lower levels. Evidence from randomized control trials show clearly that e-cigarettes can help smokers quit."
Science Media Center.
Look at this. This is Dr. Nick Hopkinson, Professor Peter Hayek,
Yep.
Dr. John Britton, who I love and adore.
Yep.
Would love. He's not even on Twitter. Dr. John Britton does not have a Twitter.
Right.
I would love
Dr.
to
Newhouse does, but he doesn't use it.
Well, he does. He has tweet, or somebody has tweeted stuff from his Twitter once in a while.
Yeah, it has, but it's been a while.
I would love to get Dr. John Britton on the show, but
somebody get him.
No way of hitting him up because he does not tweet. Yeah. So while the WHO might prefer that people abstain entirely from nicotine products, many people aren't able to give up their habit or simply don't wish to.
Imagine that.
Given that reality, policymakers and health experts, public health experts, should consider that not only is vaping many times safer than using combustible tobacco products, it may be crucial to some who are trying to break a dangerous addiction.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably a UK writer, but there are a lot of links to Indian things outside of the article, so it might be a British writer in India. Mm-hmm. Anyway, regulation rather than prohibition, because I'm just going to read the whole damn thing. It's that good. Across the world, tens of millions of smokers are moving to e-cigarettes, with governments in countries such as New Zealand and the UK recognizing the long-term potential for harm reduction and incorporating devices into their plans to curb smoking. Other policymakers, including in the EU, are still equivocating a position that which could have a devastating impact on their attempts to reduce deadly tobacco smoking. European policymakers have failed to adequately distinguish between combustible tobacco products and e-cigarettes, let alone craft innovative policies to encourage European smokers to switch to devices in order to reduce their risk of deleterious health effects. That's the second time tonight that I've used the word deleterious.
You almost hurt yourself.
I know. And I remember saying it earlier. That's why I said I've used it twice. This impasse is perpetuating falsehoods among the populations of countries in the European bloc. According to the Eurobarometer survey, more than 70% of respondents think e-cigarettes should be regulated as strictly as combustible tobacco, a startling finding that is likely rooted in their lack of understanding about the relative risk profiles of the two products. A study published last year found that almost 2/3 of Europeans erroneously believe that vaping is at least as dangerous as smoking. 2/3, almost 70%, 66%, 66.5%. Mm-hmm. While over 20% of EU adults smoke, just 2% are regular vapors, with most European smokers never having even tried an e-cigarette, a missed opportunity which could threaten Europe's strategy to stamp out smoking. I have to scroll down and see if anybody's facing up to the challenges. The EU approach risks prioritizing policies that restrict access to the very products that are most likely to help people embrace healthier habits. In the bloc's Beating Cancer Plan, I'm assuming that's the Eastern, I don't know what block this is. Well, let's click on the link and see. This is the European Commission. So this is the European bloc. Yeah. And this is their beating cancer plan. And it's linked in the article. It is 31 pages. If you want to read about beating cancer in Europe, you should read that. Tobacco is rated as the top avoidable risk factor responsible for 15 to 20% of all European cancer cases. Its goal is to create a tobacco-free generation, which is less than 5% by 2024. So as the scientific evidence in favor of harm reduction grows, many believe that reduced risk products have an important role to play in helping Europeans to quit smoking. If it wants to meet its objectives, Brussels needs to re-examine the anti-scientific approach to smoking cessation, which it shares with the WHO. And that's the end. That is an amazing piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't say who wrote it. It's QRIUS. I'm glad I found that piece because it has all the points. The points, Kevin.
Harm, period.
The points. So I called the show tonight. Oh, sorry, Camilla. Camilla, I got an alert. She tweeted 2 hours ago that she was looking for the chat. And the chat is actually not here. The chat is not there. There is, if you watch the show on Twitter, there is a chat, but only if other people are watching on Twitter at the same time as you. But obviously, the Facebook or the YouTube are the best places to chat. But then you can still only chat with the people that are on those platforms.
Right. Which
is, problematic because we are on 3 different platforms. But I can see everybody's comments. Kevin can see everybody's comments.
If I'm paying attention and my computer doesn't plop. Yes.
Well, you only got one monitor on that computer.
Yes.
See, I blew somebody's mind the other day because I told them I had 5 monitors in my office on 2 computers. And they were like, what?
What?
Like, well, there's 2 on this computer. And then the middle one, the 32-inch TV, can be slaved to either computer.
Mm-hmm.
And be a third monitor for either computer.
We're going to take a sidebar real quick.
Sidebar real quick. For those of you who know Greg. Which Greg?
The only Greg.
No, there's multiple Gregs. There's one that will not be named.
So there you go.
Now, if you're talking about Connolly, okay. Well,
so, oh well, okay.
And we call him Greggy.
So Greg, where's my damn tab? There we go.
You need to rub Mallory.
I can't read that. Oh my God, you're old and blind.
Well, I'm wearing trifocals.
Is that better? I don't know if it'll go. Okay,
there, that's better right there.
That's
good. I can read that.
All right, I'm highlighting Mallory, who I can't see. She's got 145 followers. Let's everybody follow Mallory. I don't even know if I was following her for sure. There's somebody else that popped up today. Anyway, her tweet was to this crazy person: there are many truths. One side, other side, somewhere in the middle is truth, which we've all heard that before in different variations.
No, my side is always the truth.
In the case of vaping, seems vapors and anti-vapors need to have a WWE style hell in a cell match. Last man standing wins. Not this PG era garbage either. Now, under her, I put that Bruni was going to be my partner, and I tagged him. But I asked Greg specifically because I know he likes wrestling.
He's a huge wrestling fan.
Are you officiating or suiting up was the question. So anyway, Mallory was,
and he didn't respond.
He. It's kind of like when he said, "Oh yeah, you're vaping it." he liked it, but Mallory had a great tweet there. I thought so. Yeah, I thought that was fun. So that's the sidebar. I forgot about that till a minute ago. Something else popped up and I saw it. So.
Poor Greg.
But Bruni has to be my tag team partner for that. There's no because yeah, he's the Thunder from Down Under. And I don't know if Mallory's still in the room, but I'll get her Twitter.
Does it say the only Mallory that I remember is the Mallory from Family Ties?
Okay, that's true.
Mallory Keaton.
Mm-hmm. Let me find.
She was Michael J. Fox's sexy sister.
Yeah.
There, I'll throw it back. Jay was missed out on your link apparently.
Which one?
For the amazing article that I just read.
Oh.
For the amazing article that I just read. Let me see. That's all of the content that we had selected for tonight's show, Kevin.
Was that it? Oh, well, see, then sidebar became permanent.
See, if Jay would man up and come into the chat or come into the video, then we could interview him real quick.
No, that's not it. We get the budget proposal thing, wasn't it?
No, that was the QRIUS link.
No.
Yes, the one that I just read.
No, the budget proposal frustrates anti-tobacco campaigners.
Oh, did I miss that one?
Yeah,
I thought we talked about the budget one. Was that a different budget one where they were asking for a raise?
That was above freedom of maybe we did cover it.
We did cover the video. We covered it in Twitter. We didn't actually show the article of him asking for money.
It's above my FDA tweet. And below the vaping scares undermine international efforts. I'm going to toss.
Oh, this is okay. Yeah, let me rub it.
And there's Mallory's tweet. So you guys can hit that tweet, follow her, do whatever you like on there. But Mallory's. So
he's got excuses. He's had 3 beers and he can't think fast enough with 3 beers. And he's not even drinking good beers. He's drinking IPAs. That's that damn California crazy bitter beer. It's awful.
Are you talking about Jay?
Yeah. Damn California beer. Get a Pilsner, man. Man up.
These guys are
or a stout. So this is definitely not this is definitely not our this is Bangladesh, right? Yeah, Bangladesh. So you go. This is your baby.
In any language. I was trying to find it so I can read it. These people want a raise and they're a little pissed off about it, evidently, because it says they're frustrated. Campaigners in Bangladesh have expressed frustration over the budget proposal for fiscal 2021-22, as the government has not increased excise tax on middle and lower tier cigarettes, bidi, I think that's how you pronounce it, and other cheap tobacco products. On the 3rd of June, 3 June, in fact, Finance Minister, some guy, person.
Mustafa Kemal.
Yep, I believe you. Is that the guy in Canada that was the teacher? Anyway, while presenting the fiscal bill at the National Parliament, said a higher price and premium tier cigarette is proposed to increase, considering concerns to public health. So while they were participating in a virtual media brief today, Thursday, I don't know why they're telling you it's today, but on the proposed budget, speakers said the increased price of higher and premium tier cigarettes would benefit the manufacturers, while availability in who's drinking here of middle and lower tier cigarettes at cheap prices would encourage brand substitution and smoking habit among the lower income and young consumers.
So I want you to reread that paragraph.
Participating. What am I in school? Participating in a virtual media brief today, Thursday, on the proposed budget, speakers said the increased price of higher and premium tier cigarettes would benefit the manufacturers, while availability of the middle and lower tier cigarettes at cheap price would encourage brand substitution and smoking habit among the lower / income and younger consumers.
Now, these are. Let me scroll back up here.
All right.
This is the finance minister.
Yep.
AHM Mustafa Kemal, talking about the fiscal bill, which is the budgetary bill at the National Parliament. And he's suggesting increasing the price of high-tier premium cigarettes. I almost said premium cigars because I'm used to saying that. Premium cigarettes.
Yep.
While keeping the budget cigarettes at the same price. Is that what that says to me?
I think so.
So you're saying people with money, because we already covered that smoking rates are higher in the poor,
yes,
and uneducated communities, as well as mentally ill communities. Yes.
Correct.
So we're going to increase the price of the expensive cigarettes that, fewer people smoke in those areas. There are still people that smoke in the richer communities, but not as many. So we're going to increase the price so that those people have to pay a little bit more, and the cigarette companies will like that because they're going to make a little bit of extra money.
Yeah.
But in the lower community, in the poorer communities, we're going to leave that number the same. Mm-hmm. And it would encourage brand substitution. There are going to be some people that pay for the premium cigarettes now, but when we raise the price, we jack up the price, we're going to push those people to the budget cigarettes. Yeah, I was in that world because oftentimes if I didn't have enough money, I would buy a pack of Durals instead of Marlboros, just because. So I'm wondering. Now, we know in some countries that some of the tobacco producing companies are actually owned by the government. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if in Bangladesh are the budget cigarette brands owned by the Bangladeshi government?
Well, I don't know. And
I don't know. That's a question. That's why
phrase. As you know, some major manufacturers also own some of the cheaper brands as well.
True.
So and to answer Ed's comment, it's secondhand drinking. So they're a little upset because
is my alcohol hitting you through osmosis?
It was in that freaking paragraph for some reason. You made me read it twice.
No, I made you read it twice just because I wanted to be clear that it said what I thought it said. And I wanted the listeners and viewers to also hear that paragraph twice because I wanted them to hear the Bangladeshi government are promoting smoking.
Absolutely.
And especially promoting smoking to the poorer, uneducated community.
Which is their target audience.
If you wanted proof that the governments of the world are doing this, there it is.
Yeah. Well, that brain damage that you incur from having nicotine in your system makes you dumber, right? Automatically, according to some experts, obviously.
So non-government voices for interactive choice and empowerment, which is called Voice, organized the media brief. So let's read that again. Non-government voices for interactive choice and empowerment organized this media brief.
So a non-governmental nonprofit, probably.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read this part, just because we want to. So Voice Project Coordinator Zaid Siddiqui presented a keynote paper. Said that the proposed budget keeps the previous rate of supplementary duties on all 4 tiers of cigarettes unchanged. On May 9th, Voice recommended fixing the excise tax rate at 65% of retail price of all cigarettes instead of 57%, and 65% excise on lower tier and premium brands, respectively. So they want to. So let's do this again. Instead of 57% and 65% on lower tier, so they want everybody to be 65%. And the government says, no, let's tax the premium brands at 65%, but the budget brands only at 57%. Additionally, a 15% value-added tax, a VAT tax, on 1% health development surcharge to the retail price was proposed. So not only are they pushing for a 65% tax, they're asking for a 15% additional tax, and only 1% of that tax would go to health development as a surcharge.
Sure.
Yeah. So 1%. Saeed said the sales of cigarettes would have reduced to 5.4 billion packs. 5.4 billion packs. In Bangladesh, which is not a huge country.
Mm-hmm.
If the government considered the recommendations by the anti-tobacco group, according to his keynote, the proposed budget would reduce the sales of cigarettes to only 6.2 billion packs from 6.4 billion packs. Wow. Only.
Well.
Wow. Anti-tobacco campaigner and former chairman of the National Board of Revenue, Nasiruddin Ahmed, said the Control of Essential Commodities Act of 1956, which classifies cigarettes as an essential commodity, needs to be amended.
Mm-hmm.
Essential commodity.
Mm-hmm.
He also suggested endorsing an anti-tobacco roadmap and withdrawing the government stakes from the tobacco companies to help make Bangladesh tobacco-free by 2040. So that answered my question.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently the Bangladesh government does have a stake in some of the tobacco companies in Bangladesh.
Imagine that.
Citing that the finance minister tried to relieve the cheap tobacco consumers from the excise tax in the time of the pandemic, Praga's head of tobacco control program, Hassan Sharir, said the government should fix a unique tax burden on all types of tobacco consumers, as the products are equally harmful for the wealthy and the poor.
Here comes the big shocker.
Oh, here we go. Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids grants manager Abdus Salam and lead policy advisor Dr. Mustafazir Rahman, anti-tobacco media alliance organizer Nadira Kiron, and Amadir Orthanati, executive director of Biswadi Duda, and the business standard journalist Abbas Udan Noyan also spoke.
Why, Patrick, would tobacco-free kids be anywhere near Bangladesh? Why would
because they got that Bloomberg philanthro-colonial money.
So undue Bloomberg brainwashing. So the FDA wants more money, and Bangladesh is pissed because they're not going to get enough money. There's a theme in there somewhere, and I just can't put my finger on it.
More money, more money, more money.
So I hope everybody's enjoyed the show thus far. It's a sad thing when, no money for you becomes an issue.
You have to do it. You have to do it in the soup Nazi voice.
Well, that is what I said. No money for you, no raise for you. I just thought that's all I could think of was the soup Nazi when I saw that title.
I do want to reshare the screen real quick because I do want to point out how the computer does listen to me. If you look at the advertisements, this is the shirt that I wore last week.
Look at you.
And over here, this is the shirt that I have on order.
Look at you go. Look at you go. So
I see ads all the time for my stuff. The algos are working, my friend.
That's right. So I can't get to my own Twitter here. What's going on?
Do you not know how to work? Do I have to go to your Twitter feed?
You can if you want to do it, but I don't think you. Oh yeah. Just go straight to my Twitter feed. and go to the second tweet down, it looks like, or third technically because of the pin.
You get your pin tweet, and then there's Janine.
Down. Now,
And then
Dr. Gilchrist, who's PMI, for everybody that knows, and there's a disclaimer, she's with PMI. Who gives
She's a very smart, wonderful woman, though.
Don't care, because right below that I said follow her. Her tweet and that article, which Patrick can throw it in the chat if he wants. Philanthropy allows wealthy on their own to decide how the world, or how to fix rather, the world's biggest problems. This is a problem because solving problems effectively requires working together with people you're trying to help, which was the whole freaking theme of this show.
Damn straight.
Oh my fucking word. I saw this and I read it, and then as we progressed through the evening, this was what I kind of wanted to end on, because that article itself is a really good outlook on what Liana has been saying all along for the past 2 weeks, I think. Undo Bloomberg brainwashing, hashtag. So if you want to read through it, you can. I want you guys to read that. It's something that she put on there, obviously professionally and more likely personally. I'll shut up.
Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I mean, obviously, right here, it talks specifically about why billionaires give millions of dollars to registered nonprofits, because donations to those nonprofits is tax deductible.
You know who I don't see in articles like this? And probably is, don't get me wrong, he may be, Forbes. I don't see his name brought up a lot on this kind of thing.
Well, you can actually give money and not tax deduct it. You do. I mean, you know that, right?
You mean without a reason, just to do it because you're being kind? What? And you don't need.
So Warren Buffett, who's one of the richest men in the world, Elon Musk, the crazy rich guy, Jeff Bezos, the ungodly rich guy, who has a lot of my money, and the rest of the 25 richest Americans paid very low income taxes from 2014 to 2018, even as they amassed wealth, according to the IRS data. ProPublica says it obtained from an anonymous source. So here's the problem with that. I don't like anonymous sources. In some years, the nonprofit media outlet reported, that's ProPublica, by the way, these people paid no federal income tax at all. And this is one of the things that people bash Trump about. I can bash Trump about hundreds of things, but his taxes, every rich fucker in the world, if there's a loophole, if I were filing my taxes and found a loophole that would save me money, I'm going to take it. I don't blame Trump for that, because it's his money and he wants to keep it. I blame him for a lot of other shit, but I don't blame him for that. This is not illegal. The U.S. government taxes only income, not wealth. Usually because that wealth, I mean, some of his wealth was given to him and he paid taxes because it was inheritance, right? And then any money that he earned over that, he paid taxes when he earned it. So there's no reason to pay taxes on stuff that you've already paid taxes for. In many cases, the money they gave to charity helped reduce their federal income taxes through the charitable tax deduction. So we go down here, and I'm just going to pick out this one paragraph. So it says, even some of the super wealthy are turning their backs on traditional ways of giving. Since getting divorced from Amazon founder Bezos in 2019, Mackenzie Scott has given at least $5.8 billion to some 500 nonprofits. She has emphasized social and racial justice in her philanthropy to a greater extent than the other top givers. And generally, trusted the recipients to decide how to spend those funds rather than demand they follow her agenda. That is the best way.
That is the way. Yeah.
That is the best way. So what it's saying here is that a lot of the super wealthy give money, but then they say, well, we want you to do this with it. Like Bloomberg specifically has an agenda. When he gives you the money, he tells you what he wants you to do with that money.
And who is going to help you do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is a good piece from philanthropy.com, and it is linked in the tweet that I already put in the chat room. Yep. So instead of allowing the people that know the problem and know how to work on the problem, these billionaires are given money and trying to derail the efforts of those people, and those people are accepting the money because they think that they might be able to do some good with it. But no, we want you to follow our agenda.
Yeah. Babies down the river. Do you know that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when Dave talked in A Billion Lives, babies floating down the river, I had to look that up because I'd never heard that, whatever they call it, fable or whatever. Babies keep going down the river, and they keep picking up the babies and pulling them out of the river. Nobody thought to go to the source of what they were coming from. Who's dropping the damn babies in the river? Basically, that's the synopsis of that. I don't understand. And what she said, she quoted it herself, because solving problems effectively requires working together with people you're trying to help. So when Mallory got blocked earlier this afternoon, as the example to whatever the tweet was and the article was, it's that we're showing science. We're not being idiots. We're not being disrespectful. I can be sarcastic and disrespectful and still polite. It's an art. Not the best one at it, but I do all right. And still have a conversation with people. And somebody like Dr. Glover, who I assume everybody's like Dr. Glover, and then I go, oh, wait a minute, she blocked me. So if you're hiding it, you're not at coming down to my level. I'm trying to go up to your level by showing you research and science, and you just want to go block. So it's going to happen. That'll always happen. But man, oh man. So here's another Twitter find of people that we should be enhancing, amplifying, and what is this
listening to.
You speak of this Twitter thing on occasion.
So this is Jerome Hoani King, and he is a public health and human rights guy. And he's been mentioned in quite a lot of tweets along with Cliff Douglas. So if you're not following this guy, give him a follow.
I don't think I am. What is it?
JH_King5.
I gotta look around my mic. JH
_
King
5. Sounds like a chess move.
There he is, and I am not, and now I will be. And I will have my alerts.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got 60 followers, so I don't get it,
Because he's saying the things that people don't want him to say.
Hear. Isn't that sad?
It is.
The Charles has 5,000 people following him. It just stuns me.
Dude, I have less than 1,000.
But we don't like you.
I have 924 followers.
Oh, all right. Everybody follows Zippy.
Well, everybody in here already does. Hey, there's Mallory Gates, by the way.
There she is again. It doesn't matter. I said Camila hasn't been in there a while, but I tweet because of the tweet she had. That is why. That is why. If my dad were alive, he'd be sitting with us. He'd be in Virginia bitching and screaming too, because when he died, I'd only quit a short time at the time. And I told him how, and he's like, oh, okay, good. Well, he was on his deathbed, so it really didn't matter. But to him,
it did.
Yeah,
it did.
And he had lung cancer. Period. So there's a lot of reasons we do what we do in our lives, Mallory. Because you don't have as many followers as Patrick, and Patrick, because he doesn't have as many as me, doesn't matter. Camilla's voice in that, I don't know how many followers she has either, for that matter, but when you have someone who understands it, vapor, smoker, non-smoker, scientist, normal human being, it doesn't matter. Somebody else is going to see the tweet below it, try to be respectful, and like Bruni said, you can be polite, or can't be polite to bully ants. I'm not polite to some, and we all know who they are, but still respectful in not cussing and screaming like that, like most of us don't. But it's not.
I don't cuss.
I do. I will. I can. I showed you one. I showed you one. There, I cussed. I think I said ass. But that would turn somebody like my mom or my grandmother or my dad, for that matter, well, you're an idiot anyway because you're just being stupid. So try to be funny.
I always think that you can make your point using good words.
Usually you can. And the truth, no matter what, just bothers some of these people. It's scary and it's sad. It's just not. And Mallory, when I get blocked, the gloves come off. Have them on in advance. David Gorlitz, if you haven't seen David's blog, message me and I'll send it to you. The gloves are off is something he says all the time. So yeah, this is a fun show.
I think
I don't even like you, and it was fun.
I know, right?
We hit a lot of. It was a weird, eclectic compilation, I guess, this week.
But
Very
it did
strange
all
week.
lead to the same place.
Yeah, it comes to the same conclusion.
Yes.
If you don't like it, leave them alone, or help them where they are. Don't fuck with them.
Where are we gonna go, Chugga? Chugga says, "Oh my God,
Chugga.
you here? Where are we gonna go?"
Chugga, we don't have lives.
No, we're old men that don't have social lives. My wife is in the bed watching TV.
I didn't know she was here earlier. I missed
You
her.
saw my wife.
Not her, Yolanda.
Oh,
I heard her reprimanding you, and I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Chugga reprimanded me? No.
Wife.
Oh no, the wife did reprimand me.
As she should. Just tell her to call me. I'll give
I've
her
probably done something naughty.
All right, exactly. Grumpy
I'm on
old
that-
Twitter bots.
I'm on the naughty step, is what we were.
Yes.
Would apparently.
It's a naughty step, yeah.
Yeah, I was on the naughty step.
I ain't scared.
Scared?
No, hell no.
You're not scared?
I stopped being scared when I was about 30 because it didn't matter. Really didn't matter.
Who am I trying to improve or impress?
With what?
Anything.
How does it affect you?
I'm literally not a carer.
No.
I only care. Here's the thing, Kevin. I
What?
care about my wife because I love my wife. I care about my family because I love my family. And I care about the people that are here.
Hmm.
And then I care about every smoker that hasn't had that epiphany yet.
Yep.
But everybody else can go fuck themselves. Just saying.
It's a list. It's a list.
Just saying. And, we do this every week.
Mhm.
We do this every week because there are people that might hear our voice one day and go, those two chuckleheads, they're not too bad.
Mostly.
they make sense sometimes.
Sometimes, on occasion.
And we should listen to them because they seem to care.
Yep.
And hey, Kevin, I haven't played this video in a while.
Uh-oh.
Let me find this package that I created. Here it is. I found it. And I have this wonderful ability to share video files. And I think that we should, and this is not a complete rundown, by the way. This is just what I have on my videos that I actually made.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, it's good to just remind people. Actually, this is so old; it still has Gonzo logos on it. But we'll play it anyway.
I hope he's wearing pants.
To remind people that Gonzo was an amazing company and stuff. But here, let's play it. This is a thank you to everybody that watches the show. Yeah, I mean, it's an older video, but there's amazing people on that video.
I love the idea that seeing someone like Amanda came. I didn't know anybody because everybody's got a face that isn't theirs on Facebook sometimes. Amanda came up to me in Washington, D.C., and she said, "Are you Kevin?" I said, "That depends. Who are you?" And it was her. So I got to meet her. I met quite a few people over there, Jeff Barry and quite a few others, and Matt and others. So going through that is like, wow, how has me not smoking changed my life in such positive ways, where I've met some of those very people on that screen, and I love that. Absolutely.
Lots of amazing human beings.
What an impact
presented in that video.
What an impact those people make.
Tobacco harm reduction giants.
Yeah.
giants. Cliff Douglas is a big deal, but those people in that video
are big,
are
big
as important,
deal.
if not bigger, than Cliff Douglas.
Yeah.
So, I love you guys. Kevin, have you final thoughts?
Don't stop fighting. Period. If that's in your agenda, you need to leave. Ain't got time for that.
Not doing it.
That's my thought.
I just,
Other than,
that
I love everybody in the room, and who couldn't? I mean,
in all the rooms, because we're in 3 different rooms.
Oh, that's right, 3 rooms. Yeah.
We're in 3 rooms. A lot of the show tonight was to guide people to the dialogue, to the talking points that we need to address why people smoke, why people choose risky behaviors. We need to also point the way for these tobacco control people that there is no one size fits all, and that everybody is an individual and needs individual solutions. That there is no one hammer to fix all of the nails. No. Some are nails, and some are screws, and some are other types of fasteners that need a different tool. And we need to address the fact that instead of demonizing the person, we need to understand and embrace them, understand why. What is it at its core that makes this behavior, that smoking or vaping or any other, harm reduction has been embraced in almost every facet of your life. And I did the A to Z's of harm reduction. We've talked about it on the show. It's on Twitter. Go find it. We accept it in every facet of our life, but they will not accept tobacco harm reduction. They just won't do it. And every time they belittle people for vaping, every time they demonize vaping and scare smokers away from vaping, they're causing people to die. And the WHO are giving people awards for causing people to continue to smoke and die. So that was the entire theme tonight. I called the show A Flame About That High because it burns my ass that we have all of this stuff going on, and we know it. We know it. And our messages are finally slowly trickling out. Every note, every beat that was in that article has something that we have covered on this show.
I'm not tired of doing that.
No, I'm going to push out all of this stuff, and hopefully, even if they didn't watch our shows and picked up on all of that stuff organically, we put it out into the ether. We put it out into the zeitgeist, and hopefully people will pick it up. That's all. You just need to tune into the facts, tune into the truth, tune into the fact that people choose these behaviors because they're injured, because they're hurting, because they're depressed and sad, and because they have all of these problems. What was it? 73%, Kevin, on that survey? 73% of the people on that survey that we showed chose or use nicotine and have any of a plethora of mental health issues. So let's remember, we need to embrace these people. We need to embrace the smoker. We need to ask them why. What can we do to help? How about this?
Yep.
Let's do this from a position of empathy and not, try to alienate them. So anyway, love you guys. Thanks for listening. The weekend is yours, as always. Go now after the outro, after the video is done, go and find your kids and hug them and kiss them. Go find your wife and plant a big wet one on her. sleep, and get up tomorrow and have fun on the weekend. This is your time. Whatever it is that you enjoy, do it. Barbecue, watch sports, whatever it is that you like, do it. Energize, because Monday we're going to wake up and the shit is still going to be here and we're still going to have to fight. Nothing is free. So love you. See you in 7 days.
See ya.
Bye.
No, never give up, never surrender.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
Never forget the elephant in the room. It's actually such a big elephant that I don't think people can even breathe in that room, because it's such a huge elephant. It's the number one preventable cause of death in Australia. So when you are taking a precautionary approach, when you're like, no, we just don't know enough, I just tell them, shut up, because that just I don't know is killing people right now.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
It's not about really quitting smoking. Their ideological viewpoint against vaping is so strong and so weird. Like, honestly, it's just weird. I don't know why it invokes this incredible sort of anger from these people. I mean, this colleague of mine said to me when I first moved to get the inquiry up, her comment to me was, why don't they just use a patch? And I said to her, do you smoke? And she's like, no. I said, have you ever smoked? And she said, no. And I said, well, shut up then. You don't know how hard it is to smoke.
Engorged, penis.